Hey, welcome to the Let's Talk Movies podcast with me, John, and David, aka Shamrock Balls. And today we return to our roots of this entire show and channel, and that's with the James Bond franchise. And today we're going to be talking about 1981's For Your Eyes Only. Right, David?
Yep, John, that's right. We're going back to as you say, back to where it all started nearly 3 years ago. And now we've kind of like renamed it. It's still the Let's Talk Movies podcast, but it's Let's Talk Bond.
Pretty much. I mean, that's originally what this show was designed to be. Was if for people who don't know, who might be just new to the YouTube channel in general, who found us this way. But originally, I was hosting a show with my cousin Matt, and he just could not get into the Sean Connery Bond films, and I wanted to keep doing them. And David, because he was he's somebody who watched just the regular my old YouTube channel, which still exists. He was a fan and said, I'll jump in there and do it. And I was like, sure. David was a guy who I was kind of just starting to get to know a little bit, but I asked him, sure, and he came on, and then we jumped off a little bit of just doing Bond films. So at first we were just doing James Bond, but then we branched out, and now we do one James Bond film a year.
Yeah, that's right, John. And now that we've known each other a few years now, and we bit more familiar with each other, do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Okay. Are you a virgin?
No, I'm not.
Well, put your clothes on and I'll buy you an ice cream.
and I'll buy her an ice cream. I got a lot to say about her character.
Well, but I like to drop an old quote in there from the movie, one of my favorites, and that is definitely one of my favorites. So, look,
you didn't do the shifty eyes like he's doing. Well, yeah. Put your clothes on. And I'll buy her an ice cream.
buy an ice cream. So we have talked, said a lot about Bond. I think what episode is this of Bond we've actually done? So this is the 5th Roger Moore Bond. And I think we've also done Diamonds and Majesties, kind of different format. It's evolved over the last few years. So we've done 7 Bonds, and I think we've talked a fair bit about Bond and maybe our feelings on Bond. And we are going to do an episode on Axis about the Bond franchise, where we will get a lot of our feelings out about Bond. But I've explained before that Roger Moore, to me, I feel as if was my Bond growing up, even though I was a teenager when Pierce Brosnan came along. Moore was the Bond that was always on television. But when I got to my teenage years and in the mid-20s, he was almost a bit of a joke, the Moore era. So I bought the box set, and I went back and decided to give him another chance. And that's when I kind of fell in love with the Moore era again. So I want to ask you, so I've seen this movie maybe, 4 times, maybe over the last 6 years or whatever, if that. So how did you feel about For Your Eyes Only?
Well, I actually really enjoyed it. And for people who don't know, for me, when it comes to the James Bond franchise, Roger Moore was always my biggest blank spot. And this was actually the first time I ever sat down and watched the movie from beginning to end. I came to the Bond franchise through marathons, if you guys remember those back in the day. Mostly around Thanksgiving, they would play the entire Bond franchise. And, you would sit down and watch them, or you'd have them on in the background while you're doing something. And for me, Roger Moore was usually on in the background. I just couldn't get into him as a child. I think this shows our age gap a little bit, because I've said that, like, Pierce Brosnan was the guy who got me really into Bond. He was Bond, like, when I was growing up, and then transitioned to the Daniel Craig Bonds. But Roger Moore was always the one, like, I never could get hooked into him, which is really strange, because after watching For Your Eyes Only, I'm like, this almost feels like what would become the Timothy Dalton James Bond movies, which is funny because John Glenn directed, both of his 2 movies. He directed actually all of them throughout the 80s. So it's like, it kind of has a similar tone to that, and we'll get into the score and everything. But it's like, I feel like maybe I just wasn't ready for Roger Moore. Now, I still have, like, when it comes to the look, I still feel like Roger Moore is, like, when I think of James Bond, I always think like Pierce Brosnan or Sean Connery has the Bond look down, whereas Roger Moore, like, sometimes he feels a little bit like a teacher to me with how he looks, especially in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is as I said, this is his 5th, and he started in 1970. What year was Living That Die? 1972, 71?
Oh yeah, so it's pretty early. Yeah, because the when was Lazenby? Lazenby was what, 69 or
S
70?
69, I think, and then or 68 or 69, then Damon's was like 70, and I think Living That Day was like 71. I'm near certain. So this is 10 years later. This is 10 years into his tenure as James Bond. And and that's what I'm saying. Like when I was a child, I was born the year this came out. So when I was a child growing up in the 80s, and I always remember like Bond movies being on the television, but there were the Moore Bond movies. And that's why I associate Moore being my Bond rather than, say, Pierce Brosnan, who came about in 95 with Goldeneye when I was like 13, 14 years of age. By that stage, Bond didn't appeal to me. But seeing bits and pieces, I never, like you, too young to sit down at that age to sit down and watch one of these movies all the way through. But I remember kind of like seeing Bond on TV, bits and pieces. Funny enough, this one here is the one I have most memories from sitting down and watching when I think about it. This and The Spy Who Loved Me, and as I say, so and then my dad, he would talk about Sean Connery being the best Bond, and that's based pretty much kind of more his era because like Connery was Bond in the 60s. That's how I feel about Moore and being Bond, and then as I say, he became a bit of the butt end of a joke as Bond because of how zany these movies kind of are, especially with the Austin Powers era coming in the 90s, and you're almost embarrassed maybe to say you liked Roger Moore Bonds, but it's only in the last say 7 or 8 years where I've actually started reevaluating the Moore era and appreciating it.
Yeah, I think that each Bond has their own era, and each has their own like distinct like what would be it? What would be the word? Like their distinct like personalities of their Bond and of the films themselves. Like like you can be like, oh, that's the Moore era. But Moore's era, like you said, it goes from the early 70s, and he's going all the way to the mid 80s. It's like it lasted so long. It kind of has a lot of ebbs and flows. Like this is almost like a little bit toned back after we did Moonraker last year, which they knew. But it's like also, but he's kind of a little bit yeah, he's still banging out the one-liners, but it almost does feel like it's a little bit, yeah, there's some cheese in here, and we'll talk about that, but a little less cheesy. It's a little bit more of a, it's not as dark as like the Craig or the Dalton ones, but I really do feel like it's trying to be a little bit more serious while also
Mm,
maintaining what Roger Moore always was,
yes.
and I think it kind of works, and that's why for me, like this time especially, I mean, this is the first and only time so far that I've actually sat down and watched the whole thing, but there's a lot of things in here that I've always loved about the James Bond franchise, and I really think it's for me. We'll get more into it as far as being like might be my favorite thus far of the Roger Moore movies that we've talked about.
Yeah. That's great to hear because it's very rare, John, that I would sit down and watch like the Bond franchise from start to finish. Do you know what I mean? Um, Even like when I got the box set, I think before I bought the box set, I already kind of I had the Connery movies on DVD and I'd watched them recent to that. And then when I seen the box set, it was on sale and I bought it and I watched the Moore movies, right? And that's when I started to reevaluate the Moore movies. So ever since then, like I've watched maybe a couple, every year, whatever ones I just kind of feel like. And but sitting down and watching this again the other night, I've always really liked this movie when I reevaluated. And for me, it's like Living That Die, I think is his best. And it's hard to look past The Spy Who Loved Me. But
Sure.
watching this again the other night, I was going to myself, do I like this more than them two? Is this better than them two? Do I enjoy this film more than this? And I'm not sure. But if I don't, it's either it's a close second or third. I mean, definitely. I mean, this is up there in his top three for me.
It's so entertaining. It really is so entertaining. It has great set pieces, good action, and then, like we were talking about, like, I just love the 1980s, and this is the first Bond film in the 1980s, but it feels like a 1980s film in a lot of ways, right? With the score,
Yeah.
with everything about it, the way the pacing is of this movie, it feels like a 1980s film, and I'm like, this is a Bond film that's almost tailor-made for me personally from what all my likes are. And I love the Bond franchise, and it's just like, how do I not like accept this movie and like almost go back on everything I've ever said about Roger Moore, which we're allowed to do. I feel like people are like
Yeah.
say like, oh, you've said these things. It's like, yeah, but people change and people's tastes change, and sometimes you can watch a movie too much and you might not like it as much as you used to, or you've seen it too much. Where a movie like this, I haven't seen it that much or ever really fully at all, and it's like, you know what, I was missing out, but maybe I
Mhm.
came to it at a good point in my life to actually finally really appreciate this movie.
Yeah, and that's a fair point because maybe that's what I done when I decided to give the Moore movies another chance. I wanted more Bond. I wanted more than Daniel Craig. I wanted more than Sean Connery. I was a guilty pleasure of mine was A View to a Kill. And License to Kill was another one that I enjoyed. So me kind of like going back and reevaluating Moore, um, maybe came to me at a right time as well. I think I was about your age you are now. It was like seven or 8 years ago. I picked the box set up. Everything you say about the movie spot on.
It's just that it really did surprise the hell out of me. And the only thing I can always just say is like Roger Moore knows how to play James Bond, even though if I don't necessarily think he looks like James Bond that much, or what you would think James Bond would look like. And there's times where I'm like, for his age, the things he's doing, like the one like with the skiing thing, I'm like, ski's great for his age.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot. I think I was watching the making of, and I think a lot of them guys were stuntmen,
Oh
obviously.
yeah.
And then there's a scene where they actually had him and what's her name? I've got it here. Lynn Holly Johnson, who was a professional ice skater. They had them on like sleighs, and they were pulling them down, and they were pretending, looking at each other and all, things like that. But apparently Roger Moore was a big guy, like, because the stuntman who actually
Oh,
falls
he's
off.
tall. Mhm.
I mean, he was very athletic and stuff. So the stuntman that was actually fell off the side of the cliff at the end, he says, I tried my best. He says the kind of look like Bond from a distance. He says, I'm only 5'6". He says, but Roger's like 6'5". Now I don't think he was 6'5", but he was maybe hitting 6 foot, maybe 6'2", maybe. I'm assuming. And he says, but with a $900 wig, he says I could pull it off. I never have any problems with imagining that Moore is Bond. But then again, that could be just ears when, as I say, I grew up watching these ones on the television.
Yeah, like I was talking to you off camera about, there's just like certain things when you come to things from your first point of view is kind of always the one that sticks with you. Like for me, like Pierce Brosnan, everyone's got to live up to that look of Pierce Brosnan. Just that the real contradiction of that is that Pierce Brosnan might be the definitive Bond in my head, but his
Mhm.
movies do not. Honestly, even if you compare him to the Moore movies, I feel like Roger Moore has a lot more quality films than Pierce Brosnan does. Pierce Brosnan for me has Goldeneye and then everything else. And even like with Daniel Craig, like Daniel Craig doesn't necessarily have to look a Bond, but I mean, he's really up or down
Yeah.
with his quality of films. But Roger Moore, honestly, everyone, but since we've been talking about him, which might add to the quality of him, I've really enjoyed his James Bond movies. I think Connery might have still the one where it's like he rarely misses. Like his are just all of good quality.
Well, do you know what I was thinking about today? And something I would like to do, and this would be very difficult. I like the idea of like movies facing off against each other in in the chronological order they were made. So we've already done a live show, our top 10 sequels of all time. We're going to do a live show later in the year, our top 10 threes of all time. So I was thinking today because, in my opinion, I feel this is such a great Bond movie and it's such a great Roger Moore Bond movie, but it's also his fifth movie.
Hmm.
And usually when people who play this type of character, once you're getting to or any franchise, once you get to the fifth movie, you're kind of like, it's getting tired. And I don't feel as if Moore, at this particular part of his career playing Bond, is tired. He's
No.
still almost at his peak. We've just hit the peak with Spy Who Loved Me. Moonraker was a massive success. They then make this movie here again, big success, which leads to Octopussy. The only one he really get criticized for was A View to a Kill, but even still, I think it was still a hit. And he only get criticized for that because of his age, right? I'm sure there's other things to criticize about that movie, but I'm sure we can get that someday. But I started thinking, well, which is better, this or You Only Live Twice? And
That's
uh,
I would
well,
say this.
yeah, well, I came to the conclusion this is, and then you think, well, uh, Lazenby didn't get the fourth movie. Dalton
No.
didn't get their fourth, or sorry, a fifth movie. Dalton didn't get their fifth movie. Brosnan didn't get their fifth movie,
Nope.
right? Craig get their fifth movie, and in my opinion, Die Another Day is the worst Bond movie I've ever seen. So if
Oh, you mean No Time to Die, right?
sorry, No Time to Die. Die Another Day is Brosnan, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and
No
that was his last one too. And he, like you said, that prevented him from getting a fifth one.
getting the fifth one. So pit them 3 5s against each other in order. For me, it's For Your Eyes Only, it's You Only Live Twice, and then it's No Time to Die. So I would like to do something, say maybe it's down the road to do with Bond, John, where we pit the actors, all their first movies against each other, all their second movies against each other, all their third movies against each other, and we'll rank them.
That's a
And
great
we'll,
idea.
I would love to do that. But in regards to what you're saying about Moore and For Your Eyes Only, like for a fifth movie in his kind of era, for me, it's superb. It's so entertaining. It's so many silly bits in it, but so many great one-liners. I love the fact, and we'll get into it. We're going to go into production in a minute. They went back to basics. They tried to cut out a lot of the nonsense. There is a wee bit of nonsense in there because they couldn't go too far away from what was making Moore successful at that stage. And there's literally no gadgets in the movie as well, which also grounds it too.
Yeah, he's basically making fun of the gadgets at one point.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it's like we're toning it back on the gadgets, but it's like he's still making jokes about like what they are.
Yeah. So here will we go into the production then? Because look, I say we're going to do a show on Axis about the Bond franchise anyway, and I'm sure we will overlap on some of our conversation there. But it's still all about Bond at the moment, so it'll all tie in.
Yep, I think so. And I think we can get into the pre-production on this.
No worries, mate. So the budget for this movie was $28 million.
Which, if you remember when we were talking about when we first started doing the show, like the budgets that they were always very frugal with their budgets back in the day, which is always crazy to me because they always seem to make a good amount of money. And Moonraker was it the most at the time for a film? And it still was like struggling for like United Artists.
Yeah, I think like Moonraker was like the highest grossing Bond movie for years after that. And I remember when we done that show when I was researching it, that it had the biggest budget too, but I think they wanted to cut back a bit more on this one.
Yeah, that's why that was a big reason why they chose to like tone back on like the gadgets and everything. Besides, like wanting to change the tone a little bit, but they actually drew it back a little bit was because they spent so much money on Moonraker because it was so special effects heavy. And I'm like, but they always make so much money. I guess they just want more of a profit.
Yeah, and I still feel like about 28 million at that time.
Oh, that's a lot.
It was a lot, but it was in and around what a high budget movie needed at that particular time.
Yeah, well, while watching the movie, I watched it on Blu-ray, and when I watched the old Connery movies on Blu-ray, when they really had no budget, like it's a good-looking film. Like it really is. Like it holds up very well even on Blu-ray.
Do you think it feels a bit like a TV movie though?
There are aspects of it that definitely do, but like as far as like the actual like the way the colors look, like they were using like quality film stock, like it holds up well as far as look. But yeah, I mean, there's certain aspects of like the locations there, and I'm like, yeah, I could see where it's going, but also that might be. I know you're about to get into who the director is, but like this is his directorial debut. I felt like that was more on him for that, like the kind of shots they're setting up.
Yeah, I sounded like the minister there.
Oh my god, yeah. Every time he says something.
So after James Bond's space exploits in Moonraker, Eon Productions wanted to bring him back down to Earth for the next installment of the franchise. They decided a more realistic, grounded approach was needed, so went back to Ian Fleming's books for inspiration, settling on 2 short stories from For Your Eyes Only, called For Your Eyes Only and Risco.
Yeah, a combination, because wasn't For Your Eyes Only supposed to be like for like a TV movie, so the script I guess was a little small, so they had to try and combine some things to make it work.
Yeah, I didn't too deep dive too much in that, but I did read something like that. That it was originally going to be like for a TV episode of Bond back in the 50s. I actually have the book For Your Eyes Only, but I haven't read it. I bought it when I was going on holiday, and then the place was just that warm that I just didn't read it. Too warm to even read. So, but I believe, there's like, I don't know, 4 short stories in this in this novel of For Your Eyes Only, and that's one of them's For Your Eyes Only, one's called Risco, and that's where they looked to draw inspiration from. But I suppose, like, the kind of, like, they've made the likes of like Doctor No and From Russia with Love and Goldfinger and Thunderball, and so they were probably starting to run, and The Man with the Golden Gun, and so they're probably starting to run out of books by this stage.
Yeah, so they got to like start to figure things out, and it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So the screenplay was written by Richard Maybaum, who had worked on several previous Bond films, and producer Cubby Broccoli's stepson, Michael G. Wilson.
It's a family affair.
So, as you saying about Family Affair, and you'd already touched on there, John, John Glenn, who had previously worked on the Bond films The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker as editor and second unit director, was promoted to direct the movie. This was his full directorial debut. So, John Glenn was quoted as saying, "We had gone as far as we could into space. We needed a change of some sort, back to grassroots of Bond. We wanted to make the new film more of a thriller than a romp without losing sight of what made Bond famous, its humor."
Yeah, and I think honestly he nailed that for a directorial debut. That ain't bad. It ain't bad given this is somebody, and these always kind of just feel like, getting the crew back together, and it's like, John Glenn already knows Bond, knows more. So it's like, he seems like a good idea to promote within, something you never really see them do anymore. So it's actually pretty cool they did that.
No, and I think it is pretty cool that they trusted him to make
Mhm.
that step up to direct a full scale Bond movie. But obviously they had worked with him for two movies before, seen how good he was at editing and the second unit. So it's just that next step up of directing the actors, rather than an action, and he can edit. So yeah, I think he does a great job. And in the making of that I watched on the Blu-ray, he did say that Roger Moore had established who his Bond was, so he didn't want to or couldn't kind of move away from that character too much. He still had to have that kind of sensibilities about him.
Yeah, you can't change it up and be like, this isn't the same guy from the last movie. And I mean, they do make an effort in the very opening scene to like tie in all the Bonds together anyway, like that show it's still the same continuous franchise. And I think at this point, wasn't Roger Moore, I read that was working on a film to film contract. So it's like, each movie they would have to negotiate a new deal with him for the next film. He wasn't like on a 3 film deal kind of thing.
Yeah, he may have been originally like on a 3 film, and then maybe just went on a rolling after that, because there's no way they would have just got him for one movie and then just rolled it. It might have been like 3 or 4, and then it was like, Roger, can you come back type of thing. I know that he wasn't supposed to do A View to a Kill.
No, they were looking for another Bond, and because like I guess they were starting to get a little worried about his age, but they hung around for like 5 more years with him.
I think they might have wanted Pierce Brosnan or Timothy Dalton for A View to a Kill, but they couldn't get them. And then in the end,
Something with Dalton I read. I remember there was he actually pulled it out for pulled like his want to do it out for there was something he did. I don't think he liked tone. That's what it was. He didn't like the tone that the Bond films were going in.
they panicked, and then they begged Moore to come back, and he reluctantly came back for A View to a Kill. Octopus, he was going to be his last one, but you're right. I think you're right. It was kind of like by a stage it was like a rolling movie. And listen, if the movie makes so much money and successful, it's hard not to say, yeah, I'll come back again.
Yeah, you'd be crazy not to. This is what defines Roger Moore's career as it defines most actors who end up taking the mantle of James Bond. It becomes like the cornerstone of their entire career, does it not?
Yeah, well, I think it did for Roger Moore.
Yeah.
But he was no longer the man from The Saint.
No, exactly. I mean, all of them. I mean, even though Dalton only did 2 Bond films, when I think of Timothy Dalton, I'll always still think of even Pierce Brosnan. Like Pierce Brosnan's
Yeah.
been in a lot of movies, but when he dies, he'll be like the former James Bond actor will be at the top of his obituary.
Yep, that's right. And speaking of actors, I move on to the cast. So what I've done here, John, is I've just created a synopsis for the cast rather than how they got cast or anything like that. I didn't go into that. Just
Fair enough.
yeah, just so the audience knows who the characters are, and it's just the core cast more than anything as we get into the movie, because sometimes it is hard to keep track, I find.
There's a lot of actors in the Bond movies.
And names and stuff like that as well. It's only when I started taking notes I was going, oh, that's who it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
So as we were just discussing there, Roger Moore returns as James Bond 007. Britain's favorite spy is assigned to find an automatic targeting attack communicator ATAC system that could be
ATAC.
misused for controlling British submarines.
Yeah, which is fascinating as far as the MacGuffin goes for this movie.
Yeah. So we also have Carol Baguat, Bugat. Don't know how to say her name, as Melina Havlak, daughter of murdered marine archaeologists who were searching for the ATAC system, is hellbent on revenge.
She sure is.
With their crossbow. Next, we have Julian Glover as Aristotele Costados. Let's say his first name. War hero turned heroin smuggler, who is also involved with the KGB in retrieving the ATAC system from a sunken ship, the St. George's, for financial gain.
Yeah, no, listen, it's all part of the plot. And he does a good job. I like him.
Cham Taphole as Columbo. Just one more thing, Bond.
I was like, they couldn't
Sorry.
get Peter Falk, huh?
This ATAC system. Just give me a moment, Bond. No, not that Columbo. He plays Melos Columbo. What is Columbo's first name in the television show, John? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head. I definitely don't think it's Milos.
No. Do you know they never mention it? However, some eagle-eyed Columbo fans spied it on his badge when he flashed his badge in an episode one time. It's Frank Columbo.
You know what? He looks like a Frank.
Yeah, Francis
Columbo.
Francis Columbo. But this is Melos Columbo, a Greek smuggler, former partner and now enemy of Aristotle Costados, who's committed to bringing Costados down.
Yeah, exactly. They got a little rivalry, those two, though. That was already in place before the movie.
That's right. And then we have Lynn Holly Johnson as BB Doll, an ice skating prodigy being financially funded by Costados, who has the hots for Bond.
Yeah, immediately. My God, she's smitten with him.
For some strange reason.
Yeah. Guess because he's just James Bond. That's it. Oh my God, she's a horn dog for him. That's for sure.
I think I like daddy issues or something.
It's got to be something. She's like really like going for it. Bond actually shows some control with her.
Yeah, for a change.
Yeah.
So production began on the 2nd of September 1980 in the North Sea. Later that month, on the 15th of September, principal photography started in Corfu, Greece, and in October they moved to other Greek locations, including Matura and Achillean. In November, production moved back to England, including shooting interiors at Pinewood Studios, while second unit shot underwater scenes in the Bahamas. On the 1st of January 1981, they went to Cortina, Italy, where filming wrapped in February. Actress Cassandra Harris, who plays a main role in the movie as the Countess Liesl van Schief, was married to Pierce Brosnan, who visited the set. It was during this visit that Cubby Broccoli thought he'd make a good James Bond.
Yeah, so without her, who knows if we would ever got Pierce Brosnan.
So there you go. And finally, Bill Conti of Rocky fame was suggested by John Barry to compose the score as he could not work on the film.
Yeah, he was making Somewhere in Time, I believe, at the same time as this.
Well, I ran my eye over the soundtrack details on Wiki, and it said that he was having tax problems, or he was avoiding tax or something. He couldn't come to England to work on it because of tax issues.
That's weird. Didn't even know that. I just assumed that he was too busy with Somewhere in Time, which is a very good score by him, by the way. Best thing about that movie, actually.
Well, I listened to an interview with Bill Conti, and he says that he talked about how John Barry suggested that he should do it, and Cubby Broccoli phoned him and says, "Come out to England and do the score." And he says, "I can't come to England." He says, "I've got my family and my kids." And Cubby Broccoli says, "Well, bring them with you." He went, "Really?" He says, "Yeah." He paid for them all to go over there while he done the score. He wrote a song also for the movie, and it was rejected because it didn't open with "For Your Eyes Only." That's why they go with the Shane Easton song. And I believe that Blondie ended up singing the song. It's on one of her albums. I meant to actually listen to it. I haven't listened to it.
I actually love the Bond song for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy that song. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's great. Signed by Sheena Easton.
Yeah. Who actually appears in the credits, too.
Yes, I believe she's the only singer to appear in the credits.
I'm pretty sure. I think that is correct. Usually they don't go that route, but I like it. I like it.
And you know, Sheila Easton signed a Prince song with Prince. Well, I think she signed a few songs with Prince, but she signed Arms of Orion. She wrote Arms of Orion
I
and
actually
signed
was
it with
watching.
Prince.
She sings it live still. That song actually, I watched it pretty recently where she was singing it since Prince has passed away, and she does. She's great. I love Arms of Orion. You know that we did a ranking video where we ranked all the songs on the Batman soundtrack, and I think you might have had that last, but I really enjoy
Yeah.
Arms of Orion.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, so it was when you were finished. You know, yeah, it was bottom of my list.
Yeah,
I never
I like
listened to
it.
that one.
I like that
Yeah,
one. I like that.
that's fair enough.
Maybe I just have a thing for
Easton's
her.
biggest
I
fan
like her
here.
voice. I might be. I might
say.
be.
Yeah. That's fair enough, John. That's fair enough. Okay. Distributed by United Artists, and I suppose we'll get into the movie now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Release date 24th of June 1981 in the United Kingdom. 26th of June in 1981 in the United States.
2 days later.
2 days. You didn't have to wait too long. I actually seen a thing the other day. It's probably not the podcast to bring it up, but I have to. I was going to send it to you. Jaws was released in Belfast, April of 1976.
So wow, it was a long time after it actually came out. You always find a way to sneak Jaws in. That should become a staple of this podcast, regardless. Just find some way, no matter what the movie is, to tie Jaws in.
Listen, don't you worry. There's something in the notes here about Jaws. Don't you worry about that. And listen, you can't blame me if it's in the movie. You can't blame me, right?
No,
but I just said there about
do.
release dates. That means I can celebrate Jaws' 50th anniversary again this month. Anyway, let's go. Let's go back to the movie. 127 minutes.
Not bad.
Yeah, 2 hours long, just over 2 hours. So we start with the MGM lion roaring, and we go into the United Artists logo and the MGM company.
Yep, which would actually absorb United Artists shortly after this film, if I'm correct, because this was it, which is a shame because United Artists was a big part of these movies and a lot of movies of the 1970s.
Oh, yeah, and the 80s. Well, did they not do like some of the Rocky movies in the 80s?
They did. I mean, I think that it said not too long after this, so maybe they did. Well, how long after this is
Rocky 3, Rocky 5? Not do Rocky 4 as well?
Maybe. When did United Artists go out of business? I read that it was not too long after this that they were absorbed by them. Let's see. Let's see how long did United Artists actually last. It was founded in 1919. Jesus Christ.
That's
well, you know what?
So started as Bond.
it was its own corporation until 1986, and then it was absorbed and became. They still use the logo though, because MGM, like a lot of times with companies today, like Columbia or TriStar and all these other like New Line, even though they're not their own production companies anymore, they still use them as like they're subsidiaries of other companies like TriStar and Columbia or Sony. Warner Brothers owns New Line, but at the time they were still their own companies.
Yeah, do you know? I kind of was like I was near a certain. It was on Rocky 3 and Rocky 4, and I'm near, and I think it might even be at the start of Rocky 5 as well, and that was like 1990.
Yeah, actually, I should know that because I just watched Rocky 5 not that long ago.
Because that's what I think of when I see the United Artists as the Rocky movies in the 80s.
Well, you got to be a big fan of the. With the score in general, how excited! I mean, you get the Jaws tie-in, you get Bill Conti, the Rocky tie-in with this movie. It's like a gathering of all of your favorite things.
Well, I mean, John Barry done the deep as well. It's a great wee score.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah, there's a bit of a deep connection in this as well. But yes, we have the Bond gun barrel with that funky Bill Conti Bond theme.
The Bond theme for this movie, and I like the whole score. I really do. Right up my alley. A lot of cowbell. I need more cowbell and a lot of synthesizers, and I'm like, yeah, this is right up my alley as far as scores go.
It's amazing. And we've been talking about this before we started recording stuff. I think I couldn't wait to hear your thoughts on the score, and I wasn't giving anything away because I wanted your natural reaction. And you were like, "Oh, do you not like the score?" I was like, "No, I love this score," and it's really kind of funny because like I love John Barry's score for Bond. That is essentially Bond. You wouldn't have that kind of like traditional Bond scores without John Barry, right? But do you see when somebody else goes off and does a score for Bond, like you had it for Live and Let Die, and then again you have for this? I still feel those composers do absolutely brilliant jobs.
They do, and they clearly get like I mean, they're using Bond themes and like alternate versions of Bond and putting their own little twist on it. So it's like they kind of like understand like it's still essentially Bond. It's almost like
Yes.
I think of it like when John Williams like can't do a Star Wars film, like he couldn't do Rogue One for whatever reason, but it still sounds like a John Williams Star Wars score.
Yeah, yeah, and they put their, as you say, their own wee twist, their own wee spin on it, and it also kind of just reflects the era a wee bit as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a derivative of the time.
Yeah. So we open at a graveyard, and Roger Moore, James Bond, is laying flowers, 12 red roses, at his wife's grave. So I have this kind of throwback here to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I think it's the second time that his wife is mentioned in the Moore era. I think it's mentioned in The Spy Who Loves Me about his wife being dead. And he doesn't want to talk about it. And we see him here very solemn at her grave. The tombstone says Teresa Bond, 1943 to 1969. Beloved life of James Bond. I mean, do they really have to say beloved wife of James Bond? Would it not just say beloved wife of James?
It absolutely would. And they wouldn't write the last name because her last name is the same as his.
Yeah, but they have to say, no, it's James Bond.
Just so you know, this is the loving wife of one of the greatest spies of all time. Again, never hiding his name. We've talked about this before. He's always James Bond.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised the tombstone didn't just say Teresa, beloved wife of James Bond.
Loving wife of Bond, James Bond.
James Bond, and it says below it, which I think is a nice touch. We have all the time in the world.
Yeah, it hurts, and I guess the 12 roses illustrating the 12 years since her passing. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that, John. Good spy, John.
Right? I think I could join MI6, other than not being British.
Yeah, I think they would have you. You'd be all right.
I'd have to join the CIA and work under Felix Leiter.
Oh yeah, you'd be Felix. Yeah, yeah. A vicar appears and runs the Bond and tells him, and he's all out of breath now. Mr. Bond, Mr. Bond, where the hell is he run from? Anyway, he's sort of shape. I'm so glad I caught you. Your office called. They're sending a helicopter to pick you up. Some sort of emergency. And Bond says, yes, it usually is. Thank you.
Is.
Thank you. It's more like a Sean Connery there. So this helicopter flies in, and Bond sees the vicar blasting him. And I'm thinking here, is this vicar in on this to assassinate Bond?
Well, I thought it was weird that he'd be blessing him, but again, I was like, maybe he just looks so distraught because, like you said, he's like so out of breath. Maybe that's just why. Maybe he does that for anyone who's walking away from him, but he's like so out of shape. He's like,
he's doing it for himself.
Yeah, like maybe I need to get through this, but it's just like maybe he's just doing that, but he just looks like he's just so out of it because of like the running, not because he actually thinks, oh, he's gonna die. Let me bless him.
Yeah. He could just collapse in the graveyard. They'll just bury him where he is.
Roll him
but
over.
No, he's blessing Bond because
yeah.
But he's blessing him because obviously Bond's going to be assassinated, right? And that's why Bond gives him this kind of worried look. And it's kind of like, well, how did he know? Is he even a real vicar?
Well, that's the thing. Exactly. Is he like really like, but like, did you see him before you walked in? Or like maybe like, yeah, I don't pay attention to who's around.
Yeah. And like, yeah, right enough. Like the vicar sitting having his tea, or is Mr. Bond visiting Teresa Bond's grave? And then somebody phones the vicar and says, can I speak to James Bond? I believe he's going to be at her grave. I don't know. Anyway.
I know, like he doesn't ask more questions. Like, how did they know I was gonna be here? And like I said, because they know like 12 years, this is the day he comes and sees her. Like, okay, maybe that's why they would know. But
it's our anniversary.
Yeah, but I don't know. He doesn't ask many questions.
It's kind of like Rocky visits Adrian's grave.
Yeah, that's when you go see him.
Yeah. So anyway, cut to a hand stroking a white cat, and we can assume this is Blofeld.
Yeah, it's very obviously Blofeld, but they couldn't say Blofeld because of the Thunderball thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. So it's never mentioned because of the rights issue with Spectre and Blofeld to do with Thunderball. There was a rights issue there. But this is a clear throwback to the end of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. where he's got the neck brace on, but he's in a wheelchair because obviously the accident he had at the end of that. You seen him with a neck brace on, hanging out of the car when he assassinates his wife. He has a control panel in front of him, which has monitors on it, and it's tracking the helicopter, which is now flying through London.
Yeah. Did you think of Batman Returns when you saw this?
Over the monitors.
Yeah, with the monitors and the how the Penguin takes control of the Batmobile.
No, I didn't. But of course, yeah, that's I get it. I played this stinking city like a harp from hell. Well, he presses a button and it creates a sonic overload through the pilot's headset. But obviously, as this pilot I thought worked for Blofeld.
Well, he does, because he said that, like, don't worry about the pilot. He wasn't really a high-ranking employee.
Yeah, that's right. But he renders him unconscious, and Blofeld now has a complete control of the helicopter, and that's where he says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Bond." So, John, instead of crashing this helicopter into the Thames, he decides to take Bond for a joyride.
I mean, he's a moron, and he really it's ridiculous how he's just like, it's basically exactly what they make fun of Dr. Evil with in freaking Austin Powers. It's like, what with Scotty, like, why don't you just go get a gun? I have a gun, like, we'll shoot them together. And he's just like, you don't get it, do you, Scotty? I'm gonna put him in an easily escapable situation and just assume that everything goes according to plan.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, instead of just putting a wee explosive under the helicopter and let him just explode him in the air while he's flying through London, you know what I mean?
He would have crashed into the water if you didn't save him, like, immediately.
Yeah. The thing is, but he flies Bond straight to his location.
I know, and it's ridiculous. He lets him see him and everything.
And he's on a rooftop, and I love actually the thumbnail you've got up there behind us. There's the helicopter with Bond hanging on the outside. He climbs out and obviously climbs into the cockpit from the outside and takes control of the helicopter. And that's where he says a goodbye, Mr. Bond. I like this line. He says there, "I trust you had a pleasant fright."
I know. That's exactly what I wrote down. I trust you had a pleasant fright. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. But literally, you saying about Austin Powers, I had written down in my notes, John. Blofeld tries to escape on his electric wheelchair, but Bond lifts him with the helicopter. And I've written here, this is pure Dr. Evil shit.
It really is.
Trying to get away.
Like, he's gonna get away from a helicopter. I mean, and Bond, great helicopter pilot, perfectly grabs him in the motor underneath the cart.
But when he lifts him up, he starts panicking. He's like, Mr. Bond, we can do a deal. And Bond says to him, all right, keep your hair on. He puts his hand out the window and taps him on the head,
Yep.
And that's when he's like, put me down. And Bond says, oh, you want to get off? And when he drops him down that big chimney, he's like, Mr. Bond! Mr. Bond! Do you know what I had the subtitles on to take notes. It actually had Bond written out, Mr. B, and then like dash O dash O dash O dash O dash O N D.
It's so for the hard of hearing understand that it's getting faded away as he falls down the freaking chimney. And then I guess that this is it. Blofeld, one of the biggest villains of the franchise. He dies just like that. That's it. He just goes out in a whimper.
Yeah. That's the end of him. That's their way. That was their way of giving the two fingers up about the Thunderball, Spectre, Blofeld thing.
Yeah, I love it.
Just kill him.
Yeah, just kill him off. Like, yeah, we don't even need him. We'll just write him off in the cold open.
Yeah, and I wonder, is that why they decided to remake Thunderball a couple of years later?
Probably, because that's how they got the rights. That's what they had the rights to, is that one book, right?
But they had the rights to that, but I was wondering is that what made them, the start of this movie is what made them go, oh, really?
Oh, yeah. This is the inciting incident and the whole war that they had there.
Yeah, they probably, because they were probably sticking the two fingers up to him saying, oh, we can put a character and we don't have to name him. He can look exactly like him and we'll kill him. And we'll be like, I'm sure we don't need him.
That's it. That's the big fuck you.
Yeah, but the start of this movie, John, for enough, is this is one of my early memories of a Bond film, is that scene.
Yeah, it's a good scene. And it's really enjoyable. Again, feels like a little bit like, a little cheesy, but like, before we get into a little bit more of the serious stuff, but I love it. I really do. I can't say I
Yeah.
don't love that opening sequence.
Yeah. If anything, that one of the it's one of the moment sequences where I do feel as if it is a little silly compared to what else they're kind of going for in the movie, but I can forgive it for that. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there was an opening sequence with Sean Connery had a jetpack, so like, listen, this is a little bit more believable than that.
I think the opening scene, and I won't spoil it, to Octopussy is actually worse for me. But
Mm.
yeah, well, he pulls up in a he pulls up in a jet to like a gas service station instead of a car, and he's like, "Fill her up, will you?" After
He's a-
taking out the bad guys.
There's always got to be something like that. I mean, even in this movie, he has a few one-liners like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, listen, he's great. I love Moore's one-liners. But we cut to the credits and the title song, John. It says Roger Moore and Ian Fleming's James Bond 007 in For Your Eyes Only. And I've written down here what are your thoughts on the song, but you've already given me them thoughts, John, haven't you?
Yep, and I'll just repeat myself. I love it.
Yeah, brilliant. You love Sheen Easton. And
She's my girl.
yeah, yeah, I'm right. Yeah, great voice. And I just took a note here say by now the signature Bond opening titles.
Yeah, and this is something that they still do. It's very much like in the same kind of vein of what they've been doing. It's like it's got a very distinct look to it. You very much know it's a
Yeah.
James Bond opening title sequence.
Yeah. So we cut to the ocean on a ship, the Sir George's Valletta. Valletta. It looks like a fishing trawler, but inside we have a military personnel with sonar and radar monitoring Russia, and they are watching an ATAC system. The nets of the trawler pull up a mine which connects with the ship, the side of the ship, and it explodes. So before the military can destruct ATAC system, the room floods and the ship sinks.
Yeah, just like the Titanic.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah. And yeah, so it's starting to set things up here. But cut to the Ministry of Defense in London. There's a buzz. We hear a voice. Yes. And it's the Minister of Defense. And it's his character name is Sir Frederick Grey.
At least he's a sir.
Mm-hmm. And you hear the voice saying, First Sea Lord and Vice Admiral are here, sir. Send them in. So two men arrive in, and one of them says, Shocking news, Minister. I'm afraid we've lost our electronic surveillance ship, the St. George's, sir. And he says, My God, Jack, how deep is the water there? And he says, Not deep enough, I'm afraid. And there's like this zoom into his face, and there's like this music. Dun, dun, dun.
Like, this is bad.
Oh my God, Jack. So, cut to Russia, the USSR, and it seems they know about the sinking, as
Yeah.
they've been monitoring the British. Yes, John, go ahead.
I was gonna say, who told they really figured it out pretty damn fast.
As I say, it says it did, but so the British have been monitoring them, but little do they know the Russians have been monitoring the British.
Yeah, I mean it's Cold War kind of stuff, We're always keeping an eye on each other.
Spying on each other. So that's how they kind of know about it. And this is the Russian leader, General Anatoly Gogol.
Yeah, he's
So
playing
General Gogol.
He's playing this part pretty a little over the top, I would say, a little bit evil.
Yeah. There's like a nice beautiful woman in there serving him food, and he's like smiling at her and all.
I know. This is the head of Russia.
He's just sitting like in this big fucking castle.
And up by himself with a red phone.
It's brilliant. It's so good, and he kind of put you in mind of Gorbachev a bit, but I'm not sure if that's who he's supposed to be.
I mean, they didn't make it obvious, like in the Naked Gun, where it's like he's got the freaking scar or whatever, the birthmark.
The birthmark. I love that. And Naked Gun, where Frank Drabin rubs it off and goes, "I knew it."
I knew it.
Looks at the camera. I knew it. So he says here, so there is a chance of obtaining the ATAC transmitter, right? So they've seen this is sunk. They want it. So he says they've contacted his usual friend in Greece.
Yep. Everyone's
Okay.
contacting someone in Greece. That's where it's gonna all overlap.
Yeah, you see them all making contacts. I've got a guy here. We know someone there. If he knows this guy there. This is over the tentacles of intelligence, John.
Yeah, that's all good.
Spies everywhere.
Now it's an arms race, but it's all an arms race for ATAC, or I call it attack.
Attack. Yeah, the ATAC. So the next scene, we see a small aeroplane. There's a beautiful woman on board with the pilot, and it lands beside a yacht, the Triana, and Melina Havelock gets off the boat. Get off and boards the boat. To be greeted by her parents. So so she gets on there and they haven't seen her in her way, and she's like, "Oh, why did you start here?" And they're like, "Oh, well, I had to start working this." And she's giving them presents. Everything's all happy, kissing each other and all. But the plane she had been on, but she'd taken off. It returns, swoops down, shooting Melina's parents dead. And I love the pilot's face. Knows he's coming closer in. He's like sweating and all. He's like,
"This is important. This is very important."
He's coming the plane. I wanted Hoagie to be there.
Hoagie would have done a better job, and he wouldn't have been as nervous.
Yeah. What do you do when you're not flying people?
Hey,
I murder marine archaeologists.
And that's exactly, you know what? Maybe that's what he does. We don't really know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time we see the fucking parrot, who plays a big part in this movie as well.
That's right. There's a brief scene of him in the cabin with the parrot repeating what he's saying and stuff like that. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever told you, but parrots freak me out because they can talk. And, I'm not a big fan of birds as it is, but parrots especially freak me out.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever met one.
I've met one, and I vividly remember it. I'm just like, I don't know. I would be, I don't know if I want one of those in my house.
Yeah, wonder why they talk.
I've never looked into it, but it's weird that they can talk. I think that it's just them repeating you. Like, it's not anything.
Yeah.
They're not
they
actually
don't
like thinking.
understand.
Yeah,
No.
they're just repeating what you say.
Yeah.
But still, that's impressive.
Yeah, well, I suppose I never thought too much about it.
I don't know.
Because
I don't
know. Because I've never met one.
I feel like Austin Powers again, like two things, only a couple things scare me. And for me, one of those couple things is parrots.
Parrots, yeah. When I think of parrots, I think of parrots.
I mean, pirates had parrots. I wonder if they came up with that because they were so close in how they are. Like, if they're like parrots, have them on your shoulder.
Get mixed up. Names get mixed up in translation.
Yeah. I wonder if that's how they came up with that distinction. It's always weird to me.
But we have a zoom in on Melina's eyes, just, for your eyes only. Here, and then we cut to the MI6 headquarters. Miss Moneypenny, she looks at her watch, John. So she must know Bond's due in, his appointment's due. So she looks at her watch. She goes to a filing cabinet, pulls it out, and there's a makeup tray appears with a big mirror.
She's always had that crush on him.
But why is she got like a makeup tray and a mirror as a gadget in a filing cabinet?
Q was bored that day. Set it up for her.
Send that over to Miss Moneypenny. She needs it. And she starts putting on her lipstick when we see a hat land on the coach stand behind in the mirror, and she turns. She's like, "James," and he says, "Moneypenny, a feast for my eyes." And I made a note here, John. This turns me. It's like watching someone coming on to your granny, but she's all into it.
I know. She really loves it, man. She really does. I mean, it's just something about him, man. The ladies love him.
Look, she's starting to really look her age. Listen, she's nice looking for her age, but she's really starting to look her age.
Yeah, she really, I mean, and listen, we're about to get into the next scene where he walks in the room. I mean, M's, he's dead, like in real life. So it's like they're getting old.
Well, this is 10 years in, as I say, to his tenure. If I think Moore was older than Connery when he took over the role, he was like 2 or 3 years older. So, I mean, Moore must be like in his mid-50s here. So I would say Moneypenny. I think this is the Moneypenny from Dr. No.
It is
the original Moneypenny from 20 years earlier.
Yeah, they had the original Moneypenny, the original M, and even the original Q, who hangs on until he dies too. They let them all play out their whole lives.
Yeah, but as you just mentioned there, Moneypenny says M's on leave, and the minister is here with the chief of staff. So Bernard Lee, who previously played M, was suffering from stomach cancer. He died after filming began, but before scenes could be filmed. So they rewrote this scene with these two characters. Saying that he was on leave to kind of honor him rather than just replace him right away.
I mean, but why couldn't you say, like, honor him and say, like, he passed on and this is the new M? Like, I know it's weird to, like, do things like that. Like, I'm trying to think of a show that's done that. I can't, off the top of my head, they did that where they didn't write them off completely, and they didn't say that he died because the actor died. I'm like, just say he died. Like, people die,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was maybe they didn't know what to do at the time, because it's from what I seen, it didn't look too much in it. There was talk of him doing the scene. So he was getting treatment for cancer and then he passed away. So I don't know whether or not maybe they just thought it would be distasteful just to recast the part that was written for him. And they thought, well, you know what? We'll bring these two guys in instead, because obviously they'll recast them in the next
Yeah,
movie.
they would. They would. Yeah, I know. I just thought it'd be
Yeah.
like nice, like just like maybe have his picture up and say like, oh, the late M, like he passed away, and like things happen. I don't know. It's weird to
Yeah.
just say he's out on leave. He's like, well, he
Yeah.
is on leave forever.
For good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible, John.
It is terrible. I'm sorry.
That's okay. But yeah. So he gives Moneypenny a flower and he says, "As M's away." Right. So Bond's in a meeting with, as I said, MI6 Chief of Staff Bill Tanner and Ministry of Defense Sir Frederick Gray. Yeah, so Bond's in the office and the minister says to Bond, "Are you aware of the ATAC system?" And Bond says, "ATAC, sir? Automatic Targeting Attack Communicator? Uses a ultra low frequency coded transmitter to order submarines to launch ballistic missiles." So he knows all about it, as Bond always does. That's one of those kind of wee things to do in the Bond movies, is that when he's asked about things, he knows everything about it.
He's very smart. That's one thing people might not think. He's like just a ladies' man with a gun, but the guy, he's very well aware of everything that goes on. He's good at his job, actually. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, he's a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah, exactly. And he's fully aware of like this little piece of technology, which given is a very important piece of technology. The fact that it actually does what it does, it's like I could see why people would want it, because then you could just destroy all the British submarines if you have control of it.
Yeah, that's right, 100%. Chief of Staff says here, 5 days ago, our spy ship, the St. George, was sunk in the Ionian Sea. She was equipped with ATAC. Now, if that transmitter was to fall in the wrong hands, it would render the entire Polar's fleet useless. And Bond says every order could be countermanded. And he says, worse, our own submarines could be ordered to attack our own cities. And Bond asks, have we begun a salvage operation, Minister? And the Minister says, an official operation was out of the question. The St. George's was off the Albanian coast. The Chief of Staff says, we asked Sir Timothy Havelock, the marine archaeologist, to secretly locate the wreck before he could send in his report. He and his wife were killed by a Cuban hitman, Hector Gonzalez. So that's who the pilot was. The Greek police were able to identify Gonzalez from a description given to them by Melina, Sir Havelock's daughter. Operation Undertow, the information's all here. Now Gonzalez is at a villa in Madrid. Isolate him and apply the necessary pressure to find out who hired him. And he hands Bond a file that says, "For your eyes only."
There it is. They said it without saying it.
Set up the whole movie for you there, so nobody needs to watch it. Okay, so we cut the Bond driving through Spain in a new white Lotus Esprit.
Yeah, I was going to comment on this because I know we've talked and you're not a big car guy, but I just want to point out one thing, that I fucking love this car.
So do I.
Okay.
Even though I'm not a big car guy, right? I remember loving this car when I was a kid, because again, as I said, The Spy Who Loved Me, this movie here, they're my earliest memories of Bond, and I love that Lotus. And I remember I used to have a Corgi car of that Lotus.
Yeah, I even like the red one that's in the movie as well, but not as much as I love this white one. And when I play video games, like I don't play them as much anymore. But in, like for Forza Horizon, I would always get this car and I would always make it look like this White
Yeah,
Lotus. So I always have enjoyed like there's like plenty of like stuff you can go online and look at all the Bond cars.
yeah.
I'm not a huge car guy, but I've always kind of been a little bit fascinated with the James Bond cars because every movie makes sure to highlight one, and this is, if not my favorite, one of my favorites.
Well, the Aston Martin DB5 is synonymous with Bond, right?
Yeah,
Especially the Connery era, right? But this Lotus is synonymous with the Moore era, and that is exactly why they brought it back in this film. It's good to see it there. It's a wee nod to The Spy Who Loved Me,
it's
and
not underwater this time.
it's not underwater this time. It's in the air somewhere very soon. But
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, yeah.
Shit.
But I remember then, but turning my White Lotus into the DeLorean from Back to the Future because I thought it looked very much like a DeLorean.
It does.
Doesn't it? But it's great to see it back here.
Yeah, it's great. I just love like those. I don't know what the hell you call that on the back windshield with the freaking, the like looks like almost like blinds, but I love it.
Yeah, yeah, like a what do you call it? Like a slits or a visor or something. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I know
I
what
don't
you
know
mean.
how,
It's like
I don't know what you call that, but I always like that look on cars. I mean, I haven't seen that since like the 80s, but I love that look.
yeah. Like a Venetian blind, and they used to have
Yes.
there's like a Venetian, like, and I have Venetians behind me here actually, but that used to have like spoilers and things like that, which you don't see anymore either.
No, again, the 80s, man, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
We've lost some things that I wish were still around.
But do you know the funny thing is that I love the White Lotus in The Spy Who Loved Me, but see when I see like the rustic, orange kind of colored one later, I think I like that more in this movie. If you were to give me this white one or that one from this movie, I think I like the orange one better.
Listen, I'll take either, and I like both of
Yeah.
them, but I still think I prefer the white one just because I don't know, just a little bit.
Do you know what's a nice car as well? And I'm not sure what it is. What kind of car it is? The one that Dalton drives in Living Daylights.
In the Living Day. I'm pretty sure it's a Mustang, if I'm
It's a
correct,
Mustang, is it?
or it looks like a Mustang. But yes,
Mm.
I love that car as well.
It's
Which
like
is
a
funny.
black or green color or something.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
a Mustang. I got to look it up. I think it could be a 1970s Mustang, or at least it looks like a 1970s
It
Mustang.
looks well.
It could be also an Aston
It's
Martin.
it looks like an 80s car, like.
Yeah, the Living Daylights. I'm gonna write car that he's in the snow with.
See, I'm thinking like it's a Jag or something, but it's not.
No, because I always think of the two front headlights on it. What is? Oh, it is an Aston Martin. Okay, an Aston Martin V8. So I was right the second time.
Oh, there you go. And yeah, I like that one as well.
Yeah, it looks like a 70s Mustang because of the two front headlights that are kind of in like in the center of it is something that was on the 70s Mustang.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's like his signature car.
Yeah, he's always going back to the Aston Martins. Similar scenes, like with the snow in the two movies.
Yeah.
I love the snow.
That's right. He goes to San Martin and Gonzalez's compound, and you hear a song playing called "Make It Last All Night."
Love it.
I love it. I had it on earlier when I was doing the Dices, John, and I actually started listening to the words of it, and I'm like, I think this song is all about lasting all night.
Good for him if he can.
Yeah. Yeah. So it appears that Gonzalez is having a pool party, and with lots of ladies in bikinis.
Good for him.
It looks like a great party though.
It does look like a good party. Nice pool as well.
I'd love to be here. Bond spies a blonde man with glasses, and a suit with a briefcase being directed to Gonzalez, which he opens and it's full of cash. I love how he throws a wad of money to one of the girls. The Sun Ranger. He's like,
yeah, which pays off in a second too, by the way, which is great.
Yeah, I've made a note here. Why does Gonzalez's shorts look like his underwear?
I figured that was a European thing.
Very 80s shorts.
Very much does look like it's a strange outfit definitely to be wearing in the pool, but that's what he's into.
Yeah, maybe it looks like he's forgot to put his shorts on. So he's rolled out of bed. So Bond hears a rustle in the bushes. When he goes to investigate, he's caught by two goons, and for some reason they know to go straight to where his gun is.
I know
You
they
know?
knew right away where it was.
They
Walter
didn't
P.P.
like,
Carey.
yeah, they didn't pat him down or anything. He just gone out, bump straight in, bump, take out it.
I thought maybe that because it was like a loose windbreaker he was wearing, they could see the outline. That's how I wrote it off.
Possibly. But as you say, cut to Gonzalez with Bond's gun. And he says, Walter, PPK. Bond's flanked by two of the goons. And Gonzalez says, standard issue, British Secret Service, license to kill or be killed. You see Bond kind of looking at him dead serious. And he says, take him away.
Yeah, just get rid of him, kill him, and then and literally Hector goes right back to his pool party.
He goes straight to it. He doesn't want to do it in front of all the women. Gonna go and do Bond in. So Bond's eyeing up the blonde-haired guy who's sitting there. When Gonzalez,
weird ass glasses.
It's big. It's just like it's Jeffrey Dahmer glasses.
This guy has like a distinct look. He doesn't mind looking ridiculous the whole time.
He walks into this pool party in a full suit.
Just looks like a fucking an asshole.
Yeah. And but Gonzalez is struck by an arrow in the back.
Right as he's diving. And you hear the arrow too.
And of course, all the women start screaming. A fight ensues, and Bond escapes using a table umbrella. Excuse me. But Gonzalez's men are shooting at him in pursuit. He runs into Melina, who uses her crossbow to shoot a goon behind Bond. And he takes her hand, and they both run. In the meantime, the blonde-haired man lifts his money back.
Even from the girl, he takes the money, the one wad of cash, and she's like, "Hey!"
Oh, does he take it? I didn't even notice that. He takes the money off her too.
Yeah, he grabs it out of her hand as he's walking by, and she makes a noise like, "Hey!"
I didn't even notice that. Brilliant. That's even better because I thought it was funny the fact that opportunist. I'll just take his money. Wonder did he give it back to?
Yeah. No, he noticed it. And he took it right away.
He probably just took it for himself. You know what I mean? He didn't even bring it back to status. Yeah.
I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah. So the bodies try and get into the Lotus, but it's burglar proof, John, and it explodes. So it doesn't.
I like that they put a sticker on that, like burglar protected. I'm like, no, it's not just an alarm. Yeah. It'll blow up.
I remember John Glenn. He said in the making of that when he watched this with an audience, and I think he said it was New York, and he said they had an awful lot of like car crime at the time, like people taking cars, stealing cars, hijackings, things like that. And he says, and when they seen that in the cinema, everybody all burst into applause and cheered.
Yeah, that's what they need. They need something a little bit better than just a freaking regular alarm. Let it blow up.
Bond says, well, I hope you have a car. And Melania leads Bond to her car, a yellow Citroen.
Yeah, this thing doesn't look like a Lotus, that's for sure.
No, definitely not. I love the music in this, even though it's a wee bit cheesy, where it goes. Burr, 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 burr.
I like it too.
Bond's face and he's like, So Bond asks when they're in the car, they're taking off, they're trying to get away, and he asks, "Who are you?" And she says, "He killed my parents." And he's like, "The Havelocks? I'm sorry." So he asks, "How did you find Gonzalez?" And she's like, "Through a detective agency." So we bit of exposition there of how did she find this guy, And we go into this car chase with Bond and Melina, and they're being chased down by Gonzalez's men, and a funky Bill Conti score.
This is when you hear the old freaking the cowbell in there a bunch.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and I love this line here that Bond says. He's like, "Love it." He's there like bouncing up and down. He's like, "Love it driving the country."
They are really exploring the countryside, that's for sure.
But they eventually get away from them, and Bond starts and says there, "Oh, by the way, we haven't been properly introduced, Melina. My name's Bond, James Bond."
Snuck it in there.
Yeah, he's so smooth.
Perfect
He,
time too.
he does that wee thing as well. No when when the goons are chasing him, John, and they pull up alongside him. He does that he does this in The Spy Who Loved Me to the girl in the helicopter when she comes up from the side of the cliff. He kind of looks at her. He does a double take because it's a woman. He doesn't realize, and then he kind of looks at her and he goes. He does the same in this, where they pull up alongside him. He kind of looks and he goes.
Puts the charm right on for them.
Even to the bad guys.
Yeah.
So in the next scene, Bond has arranged a flight out of Spain, but Melina says this business is not over. The man who paid Gonzalez, and Bond says, the Chinese have a saying: before setting out on revenge, you first dig 2 graves. And Melina says, I don't expect you to understand. You're English, but I'm half Greek, and Greek women, like Electra, always avenge their loved ones.
And she really wants to, but I agree with Bond on this. Like, if you dedicate your life to revenge, you're inevitably gonna die. I love it. Zooming in on the eyes.
I don't think they do it in that scene, but I should have done that earlier when they went in her eyes. Sorry, John, what were you saying there?
No, I was just saying, like, that is the true thing about when you dedicate your life to revenge, you might as well dig 2 holes because, metaphorically, you're pretty much dead too because you're throwing your entire life away for this.
Yeah. Like Val Kilmer says in Batman Forever, your whole
yeah.
life becomes revenge.
Exactly.
And, yeah, listen, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
you got the guy who did the killing. I mean, and might as well just like let it go for now. Like, what more can you do? But she's got to get everyone. She's got to get the whole fleet of them.
Yeah.
But this is a little foreshadowing for the very end of the movie.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's why I think that's very important. And I do like that line in the whole film as well, John. I do like this back and forward about this is her mission now. It's all about revenge. And the fact of the matter is that we'll go on the next scene as we'll find out. She's kind of foiled Bond's mission because taking out the assassin isn't going to get you to the guy who's behind it. And that's what Bond wants to get to. But he's ulterior motives, whereas her motives, she doesn't understand why her parents were killed. She just wants to kill the people that killed her parents. But I get what you're saying. I mean, there's a lot to be said. The psychology of people who forgive people who have murdered their loved ones. They say it's very liberating rather than holding that grudge and holding that kind of hostility inside you and that want for revenge. That's why they say justice is better than revenge, and it eats you up inside.
Mm-hmm.
So they say, but I mean, it's easy for people to say that when it hasn't happened to them.
It's a good point. Exactly. You don't know how you're going to feel. You can't say it unless you've been in those shoes.
Yep. And that's why they say it's harder for you to forgive someone than it is to take revenge.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as I just said there, so Bond reports back to headquarters and they think with Gonzalez dead, the mission is over. However, Bond tells him, if you care to look again at page 2, paragraph 4 of my report, sir, you will note that I saw someone paying off Gonzalez. Now, assuming that was for Havelock's murder, now there is still a glimmer of hope. And the minister says, I don't follow. They're not exactly bright, these two, are they?
No, they don't got nothing. They're just basically desk jockeys, these two. Mm-hmm.
2 idiots. And Bond says, if they can identify that's someone, and then the chief of staff says, why don't you try the identigraph?
I love this. My God, I thought that they were kidding.
You see, Bond kind of looks at him, but the minister says, and the chief of staff says, "Well, get cracking 007," and the minister goes,
But that's all he says.
So in the next scene, Bond visits Q Branch. Now, I just feel as if at this stage, these are the things that the producers kind of mandated. Said, listen, you have to have Q in the movie. You have to have Q Branch. You have to show a scene with Q Branch. People like that.
No, exactly. You need to have like the visit with M, see Moneypenny, go to Q Branch. You got to do it. Like, it's all big things, a part of like what makes the Bond franchise the Bond franchise. It's as important as the gun barrel sequence and the opening title sequence.
But the thing about visiting him is he gives his or M's office. He gives him his mission to do, right? And that's fair enough. Moneypenny thing is like, okay, yeah, we'll have to do that. But the whole idea of trying to take a lot of gadgets out of this Bond movie because of what came before. It's almost like this is no. You have to have something in there because the audience will want to see that, and that's another note that I want to make. As you said about the MacGuffin, I like the whole idea that the plot of this movie isn't about a man trying to take over the world or destroy the world, what we've had in Moonraker and The Spy Who Loved Me. This is we're going back to the like live and let die. It is something that can be very destructive towards, say, Britain, say push the fire missiles that destroy their cities, but it's like a smaller type of grounded mission that he's on. It's something that you could maybe that could actually happen.
Yeah, it's believable. Like this whole system, it's a little ridiculous that it's literally a physical system. Like he literally can just take it off the freaking entire out of the ship itself. It's just this like looks like this giant Fisher Price kind of thing. Like you just carry it around. But it is like a MacGuffin through and through, like the definition
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, it's like what was the name of the thing they had in From Russia with Love, and he was running after it as well.
Oh yeah, exactly, just like that.
It's exactly like that. Oh, what's the name of it? The Lacter.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. If they're
Yeah.
really trying to go back to a Bond film, like an older one with the Connery era, like it's literally the same thing.
Yeah, well, I noticed things in this, which I didn't note down, that are just taken from other Bond movies and put in this maybe with a different wee bit of a spin.
Yeah, 100%. It's very, it's very noticeable.
Mm-hmm. So Bond says, "How's the arm?" That'll come in handy because he sees a guy with like a cast.
Yeah,
The cast smashes the head off a mannequin.
yeah, that one's great. And then what is he called? The one with the knives with the umbrella when it starts to get wet.
Stinging in the rain.
That's not funny, Dublin.
And Q gets upset. I really don't appreciate your comments.
He says, "That's not funny, 007." But he says to him, "What are you doing here, 007?" And he says to him, "I've done the graph."
You see, that's where he sees them putting the Lotus back together as well. I guess like that's what they're doing is just I'm assuming it's a different car.
That's a complete. Obviously, it's a new car. Yeah, I wrote down here. It's the next note I've got actually, John. We see a new orange rustic bronze Lotus, and he makes a joke saying, "It's good to see you're putting the Lotus back together." And the Q says to him about, "Oh, I really don't like you making jokes about our equipment or something," doesn't he?
I guess he's always like belittling Q's department and what they actually do there, but it's like that's what Bond does.
Yeah, they have this playful kind of relationship where it's almost like a father-son type of relationship, really, isn't it? Or like an uncle or something like that. They actually do really like each other.
Yeah.
But, he's needling them and he's, taking it on the chin.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Q brings him to the identigraph room, and it actually says identigraph room above the door.
Yeah, this is only the real major gadget in the movie, and it's very 1981.
Yeah, but Q tells him this 3D visual identigraph is still in the experimental stage. So Bond starts describing who this blonde man was. I love how he hits it in his nose, looks like Pinocchio, and Bond says, "A nose, not a banana, Q."
I mean, literally, he gives very vague descriptions, and still they catch it, which is amazing, by the way.
But how long? I know this scene lasts about 4 or 5 minutes. How long do you think they were there for? Because like as the scene goes on, it's almost they've taken their jackets and all off and the ties they got. And then one stage, one of the women that works in Q Branch comes in and he turns out and says, "There, I'll lock up." It's like it's almost like the scene lasts 5 minutes, but it almost feels like it's supposed to be longer.
Which makes sense because it's like they wouldn't figure it out that quick because it feels like it moves very quick, but it has to be longer. And I think they did try to illustrate that time has passed. A good amount of time has passed.
Yeah. Because eventually, like, as you say, they create the match and Bond says, "That's him, that's our man." And compared with intelligence, they establish it's Emile Leopold Locke. And Bond phones the minister and he tells him that he's an enforcer in the Brussels underworld. He's been convicted of several particularly brutal murders. I read what was on the screen. It actually says convicted murders, and then brackets it said brutal.
I mean, I guess the sentences don't really carry that long since he's convicted of them, but he's still out there working.
Well, he escaped from Numar prison by strangling his psychiatrist. And he's working for drug syndicates in Marseille. He's worked for drug syndicates in Marseille and Hong Kong, and now reportedly working for the Greek smugglers. The Italian Secret Service think he is at this moment in Cortina.
Yeah, which love it when they get to Italy, which is funny because it's like this whole Winter Olympic kind of thing, which the Winter Olympics were just in Italy.
Yeah,
Yeah, thought that was
I
nice.
just
Little
there.
fun. They were just there. Pretty funny
Yeah.
time.
Well, Bond is instructed to make his way out there, and to meet and Ferrer, their man in northern Italy, will meet him there. And Minister says, "Try not to muck it up this time."
He's doing his best.
Or might have been the chief of staff actually said that to him, if I can remember correctly.
Mhm.
But it wasn't him that mucked it up. It was your woman that mucked it. Well, he got caught, you know.
Yeah, I guess, but she threw off the entire plan. If that didn't happen, he would have been able to probably do what he was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So this is the thing, Nick. He's not supposed to be fighting the ATAC, but they want to find out who was behind the killing. So yeah, first. Anyway, cut to the. I suppose maybe if they go and retrieve the attack, then they'll never find out who's behind it.
That's true.
Hmm.
That's true.
Okay, so cut to the new Bronze Lotus in snowy Cortina, skis on the roof, and Bond checks into his suite, scopes the place out, and in the bathroom he runs the hot tap in the sink, and the steam on the mirror produces a Tofana 10 a.m.
Well, they got to
Yeah.
be secretive.
Mm-hmm. So Tofana is a ski slope. This is where Bond meets Ferrara, Luigi, and incidentally, we actually see him coming out of the hotel when Bond's coming in. Did you notice that?
Nice little touch. I
Mhm,
didn't,
'cause-
but no.
yeah, Bond though doesn't know who he is, and he doesn't know who Bond is. But he goes to walk out the door, and Bond goes to walk in, and then Bond doesn't move, and he backs down. He moves out of the way, and then Bond walks past him. He kind of looks at Bond, walks out. So they don't know who they are at this point, but you see him before they meet up.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So he gives Bond the lowdown on a smuggler who might be able to lead him to Locke. Bond wants to meet him, and Luigi has set it up at an Olympic ice rink. So here we see Bibi Dahl, played by Holly Lynn Johnson. She's an Olympic ice skater, and Luigi introduces Bond to Aris Christados. And watching from afar is Locke. Christados introduces Bibi to Bond and Ferrara, and for some reason, she takes an instant attraction to a 60-year-old James Bond.
Ridiculous. Like literally just completely smitten with him right away. And I don't get it. Like literally looks like her grandfather.
Yeah, she's all like,
She can't really,
this old guy. He's not old, but he's middle aged. He's quite literally like middle aged.
and he's not like a model. Like, he looks like a regular middle-aged man. Like
Yeah, a normal guy you'd see knocking about.
yeah, it's not like, oh my god, this is like one of the most handsome people I've ever seen in my life. It's like just looks like a regular guy who might be able to do your taxes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't get it. Maybe that's her thing.
it might be because I might mention that soon. Because he also introduces her to her coach, Jacoba Brink, once a world class skater herself. And Bibi says to Christados, "Oh, Uncle Larry, can I stop now? I'm pooped." And Christados says, "That's for Miss Brink to decide." And she says, "Come, baby, another half hour's practice." Now, the actress that plays Bibi is around 22, 23 years of age when this movie was made, right? But they're playing her like a child.
I know, like literally just like a 15-year-old.
Yeah, which is very odd. So I take it she's supposed to be younger.
I don't know if she's supposed to be younger or she has the mindset of a young person. I think she's definitely supposed to, like, maybe be like 18 or whatever. But the fact that Bond doesn't even want to go after her makes me think that, like, he's like, yeah, you're a little too young for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's very odd because she's actually quite beautiful, right?
Mhm.
But she's in her early 20s. I believe the actress that plays Melina was around the same age, and I had heard that she had problems with the movie because of the relationship she had with Bond, because she felt he was far too old for her, and that was the criticism with even like her view to a kill was like he's too old to be knocking about with some of these women, and I kind of always thought to myself, the remedy that they should have rewrote the script for View to a Kill, because obviously it wasn't written for Moore, so he just came in to do it because they panicked, and I always felt as if they should have changed it, that the play on his age in that movie, but here they do that where he's kind of like, no, you're too young for me, but maybe this is the way she behaves more than anything, rather than what she looks like, but he wants to get it on with like the likes of like, Melina, and then he ends up with the Countess, and she seems more within his age range.
Mm-hmm. But even like Melina, like she kind of plays it more like, okay, if she is around the same age, she plays it like she's closer to like 30 at least.
Well, she's a lot more mature. The character is a lot more mature
Yeah.
than this character. The way she's playing it. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike the character. I actually think she's quite funny. But it's just some of the dialogue. Oh, Uncle Larry, I'm pooped. I want to win the gold medal. And it's just kind of like, yeah, you're playing this like a 12-year-old.
You're playing this literally like a child, but maybe that's her thing. Maybe she's like into like being treated like a child by an old man. She's got daddy issues.
But that's what I said earlier. Is this what it is? Is this what how she ended up with Kristatos, and then she ends up throwing herself a Bond, and then at the end of the movie, you see she's with Columbo.
Yeah, like that's her thing. She likes these old men.
Yeah. But she asks can Bond take her to the biathlon, which first he doesn't want to, but Kristatos encourages him because obviously Kristatos is going to set him up. But he ends up obliging. He says, well, I'd be delighted. I'm staying at the Marmont. So Bond shows Kristatos a picture of Locke, and he tells Bond he works for Milos Columbo. He's his right hand. He tells him Columbo is into smuggling, drugs, contract murder, and is known in the Greek underworld as the Dove. A very sick joke. They fought together in the Greek resistance against the communists, and now he's somewhere in Greece. Kristatos says he's leaving for Corfu soon, and if he gets any more information, he'll call Ferrara. So he's said his piece. He doesn't like this guy asking questions, and he's like, I'm leaving, so I'll let him know if you need anything else. In other words, he's never going to get in contact with him again. No, because this guy's led him to him. So on the way back, Bond quizzes Luigi on Columbo's capabilities to mount a salvage operation when he sees Melina and Cortino entering a sports shop to buy an arrow gun. So
it's a thing.
She loves these arrow guns.
She's good with it. Obviously, we saw that she's really good with it.
He hides in a florist's and orders a dozen lilies. And I love how he's getting in the florist. You notice he bumps into like this blonde woman who's coming out, and he's like, "Oh, sorry," And instead of like a woman probably be annoyed that somebody's bumped into them, like, "Watch where you're going," she kind of looks and gives him the eyes.
Yeah, every woman, man, they all love him.
This young blonde chick. So outside, Melina is about to be attacked by two men on motorbikes, but Bond intervenes, knocking one of them through the florist window.
Yeah, another great one-liner here when the girl brings him his lilies.
Yeah, he says,
send him to the funeral, will you?
So, yeah. So, did he pay her?
I don't think he paid her. I think he just walked off. I think the girl was probably like, what the fuck now? I got to clean this all up.
Yeah, she come out with the lilies, like, and there's just this mess. And he's like, send him to the funeral.
Yeah. She was probably like, God damn it. This is supposed to be an easy day.
God damn you, Bond. So Melina tells Bond his telegram. Melina tells Bond his telegram told her he had found the man and to meet him there today. But Bond tells her he didn't send a telegram and escorts her to a horse and sleigh to bring her to the station to leave. So Bond convinces her to go back to the Triana in Corfu while he figures it out as they're on there, and any interference could stop them from finding out who's behind it all. All I can tell you is it's something of vital interest to both our countries, and she agrees to wait in Corfu, but not for long.
No, Not for long. She's very this is very important to her.
Yeah, so he convinces her to go back there to buy himself a bit of time. But Bond arrives back at his hotel room, and someone's in his bathroom taking a shower. His gun drawn. Baby comes out in a towel and gets into his bed. She says she get into his room. The porter's a fan. He'll do anything for me, and I'll do anything for you. She's pulling the towel away.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I wrote all the dialogue down here because I think I love this scene, even though it's totally ridiculous, and I
Oh,
can't afford to look ridiculous.
Uh,
Bond says you're in training, and BB says everybody knows it builds muscle tone, and Bond says start by building up a little bit of muscle tone by putting on your clothes. And he says, I don't think your Uncle Ari would approve. And BB says he thinks I'm still a virgin. And Bond says, yes, well.
You get your clothes on. I'll buy you an ice cream.
the eyes like back and forth, like, oh my god, I'm like, this is bad.
So he actually checks the coast is clear, and then she kind of like assaults him, kisses him, pins him up against the door.
Yeah, exactly. She basically, sexually assaulted him, and he's like, no, this is not good. I'm getting out of here.
Well, he says, "Did you ever come up for air?" And BB says, "That's why I'll get the gold medal. Breath control." Just hugging him and all. Fuck.
Literally, just horny as hell for this guy.
It's wild, absolutely wild, but I love it.
It really is.
Yeah. So cut the Armand Lock arriving at the biathlon, and a stuntman skiing with BB. Oh, sorry, Bond.
Oh yeah, it's very obviously a stunt man.
She's blowing him a kiss now.
Oh, Jesus Christ! She got a little cowboy hat on.
That's right. So she does.
She got all dressed up after this because it's a gun thing. So I'll put my little cowboy hat on.
Oh, I right off. Yeah, that's right. But they see Eric. Is it Krugler or Krigler? Krugler. Is his name pronounced Krugler or Krigler?
I'm gonna say Krugler.
Krugler, the East German champion. Isn't he beautiful? And Bond says she's fickle.
She's just a jumping guy to guy. She just, if that guy, wasn't so fixated on what he's doing, he's an angry man. He could have got laid too.
He could have done. Yeah, maybe that's all he needed.
Yeah, he really needs it. He's always mean mugging it every time we see him.
Yeah, he could be with her. Back in the hotel room. Instead, he's out there growling at James Bond. You know what I mean? Shooting at things.
A real missed opportunity for the guy. Poor man.
Yeah, I know where I'd prefer to be.
Exactly. I would be like, yeah, what? I don't need to do this today.
Yeah. Fuck this Bond guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he scourges at Bond and ignores BB, and they watch him shoot. Locke's watching, and Krugler takes off, and Bond tells BB that he has to go. He has an appointment. Don't grow up anymore. The opposite sex would never survive it.
I agree.
I think that's brilliant. She's like, what?
Yeah, no, she's an idiot. She's definitely a tropey dumb blonde.
Yeah. I love her character, but so we see Locke get into his car, and he radio's in the two bakers. And as Bond takes off into the forest, East German champion Eric Krugler tries to assassinate him. Bond gets away with one ski stick because he shoots one in half. Remember, he's got one ski stick. Yeah, and Krugler's in pursuit with the two bakers, and he makes his way to a ski slope. And the three would-be assassins recoup with Locke and a henchman called Claus. Do you recognize who that was?
No.
So apparently, Locke is Christados' right-hand man, and Locke has a right-hand man. It's Charles Dance.
Oh, really?
It's a really young Charles Dance with her.
Well, I was gonna say, he must have been really young. This has got to be an early role for him then, right?
I think so. I forgot he was in this. I was watching it the other night and went, there's Charles Dance. And I was like, it's not him. And I was like, it's definitely him. And I had to look it up, and it's him.
Yeah, it's him. It's 100% him.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, he was young, and because he always looks fucking old.
He's got a wee bit of like kind of reddish colored hair, like dirty fur hair. You
Yeah,
know, what's
I
left of it anyway.
didn't know that at all. That was
There you
news to
go.
me.
I recognized him years ago, and then forgot he was even in this, and then recognized him again. I mean, that's Charles Dance. Bond notices Locke wearing a dove pin, so he's they're wearing these to kind of set up Columbo, and he takes off down the slope, and near decapitating East German champion Krugler, then we go into this skiing chase scene with a funky Bill Conti score, and probably my favorite track of the soundtrack album, John.
It is my favorite track as well. I actually had that in my notes, so that's funny.
Was that too much?
No, I think it's perfect, and I think you nailed it.
It is so good. It is so good. I love it. It's just totally grown on me, and I know that but I'd seen when I was doing some of my research that apparently like the score has been criticized over the years, but but since then it's kind of like people have recognized it as being one of the best Bond scores.
Sometimes I feel like in the moment, people are looking for things to criticize, and then as we get away from things, people are like, you know what, that was actually good. Why did people feel that way at the time?
I think maybe it's because they're so used to John Barry, and then when they
That could
get
be it
just something a wee bit different, they're like, oh, I don't know if I like that, and then over time, it just suits the movie.
Yeah, very much. It's perfect for this film, in my opinion, especially for that sequence. So, I think that people need to understand that, and I think people did obviously come to the realization of it, but I just think in the moment people were a little bit, I'd say, too critical for no reason, just because, like you said, probably because it was different.
And because as well, like they're at a biathlon, you know what I mean? And like it's like a Winter Olympics type feeling or theme. And it does kind of lay sound like this Olympic type theme as well as kind of like a Bond theme too. So I think it fits well with the scene.
You even see the Olympics logo, like when they get to that ski ramp thing, you could see it. So, yeah.
But what you don't usually get, John, is machine guns on motorbikes. But we have them here.
Yeah, there was that. It's very Bondish, very Bond filmish.
Yeah. And he puts his last ski stick in between two trees to foil the bakers. Well, the foil
One of
a
them.
baker, one of them, that's right. Now he's got no sticks at all. And just when you think it's over, Bond enters a bobsleigh track.
I love that too.
He's still going. And but he flies out of that onto a barn roof and down. And not even East German champion Eric Krugler can out ski Bond.
Nope, you can't. It's got to be very frustrating that Bond, only does this for recreational purposes. Is still better than you.
Yeah, and he crashes and he ends up, they both fall down and he ends up, he throws he's got like an arrow gun himself, isn't it? He's got a gun himself, but it seems to be broke or something. He throws that, then he lifts the bike and he throws that at Bond. And then that's it. Bond just takes off into the down the slopes into the forest and away.
Yep, that's it until they meet back up again.
Yeah, brilliant. So Bond with Luigi arrives in his Lotus at the ice rink. I noticed like Roger Moore climbing out of this Lotus, he can barely get out of it. Did you not notice that?
It's pretty low to the ground. He's an older guy, and as we noted in the beginning, he's a tall guy.
He's tall as well. He's like, and he turns to Luigi and he says, "Don't touch anything." Luigi sitting there with his Inspector Clouseau hat. So he's there to quiz Bibi on Eric Krugler, the East German champion. She tells him apparently he's a defector from East Germany. And Brink's like, "Shh, Bibi, come on, let's go." And she kisses Bond and hugs him and says, "Oh, I could eat you up alive."
Jesus. Bond it's so easy for him to get laid, but a weaker man would have just been like, you know what? You can.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, well, I was gonna say he sleeps with Grace Jones. At least she was older, but
Well, the trainer, whatever her name is, got a stick up her ass, and she clearly doesn't have any interest in Bond.
no, but she's probably closer to Bond's age.
Yeah, exactly. And she probably just sees, oh, Jesus, come on, baby. Just can you cut this shit out with this guy?
Yeah, maybe she's jealous.
Maybe because Bond's not going to look at her.
No.
No, this old hag.
Hmm. So Bond is then attacked by an ice hockey team.
Yeah,
he's-
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, but I just really sorts him out, and that's it.
I mean, you know what? Bond's got to like. That's why he gets late all the time. And why he drinks. He's got to like be like. He's always got to be looking around because no matter where this guy goes, he's getting attacked.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's ridiculous, and it's like, why not just come out with a gun, shoot him? You know what I mean?
I know.
It's Bond, and you could easily just edit this out, and it wouldn't affect the movie whatsoever.
I mean, he just literally walks out right after, like nothing happened.
Yeah, and he walks out and he finds Luigi dead in his Lotus.
Mm-hmm. I think he was just going in there to expect Luigi just to be waiting. Nah, sorry, it took a little longer. And I took. Oh.
Yeah, he's got a dove pin in his hand.
I just really like you said, they're really trying to make you lay into it. Like it's Columbo, it's this bad guy.
Yeah, they're saying it's him. He's the
And-
dove guy.
Yeah, we told you.
Yeah. So the next scene, we're in Corfu, where he meets with Melina. They go shopping, have some food, wee bit of Greek music. That evening, Bond tells her he's meeting a man tonight at his casino who has give us a lead. Who may give us a lead.
Mm-hmm. Gotta be there then.
Yeah. So that night in the casino, Bond's playing cards. I think it's 21s he's playing, isn't it?
I think so. Nice little callback to like where we first met Bond.
Yeah, I
talking
mean, I think that's another thing that when I go and watch a Bond movie, even though these movies are very formulaic, I always want to see him in a casino when a talks playing cards at some stage.
That's where we first met him, Mike. It's always a callback to Dr. No.
Yeah, you have to see that in a Bond movie. I don't care what Bond movie it is. You have to have at least one scene of him. Okay, not so much skiing or being underwater. It's always great. This movie has it all. It has the air stuff. It has the skiing. It has the underwater stuff. I love all that. That to me, that's just like essential Bond, right? But if one of those things isn't in a Bond movie, that's fine. But you have to have him in a casino playing cards.
Yeah, he's got all the vices. He's a gambler, he's a sex addict, and he's a freaking drinker.
Yeah.
He does it all.
Yeah. I was trying to think how many of them I am.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I'm no James. I'll let you guess which one I'm not. I'm no James Bond though.
I'm gonna guess you're not a gambler.
Yeah, you might be right. Although I did do the lottery again tonight, John. It's Mooney way out. Mooney way out.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of fantasy. That's why I always wait a little bit after the drawing to check the ticket. Like, let me think about what I can do with this if I win.
John, I done the Euro Millions a couple of weeks ago, and usually they give you a notification if you. Well, I thought they did, and I was like, so a load of weeks ago, I think it was around Easter time, and then I was kind of like, thought, I didn't do it for a week, or I don't do it every week. I just do it when I feel like it. Logged in at the weekend there. I thought on Saturday, I think I'll do the UK one tonight, right? Logged in, and I'd won £4.10.
Oh, nice.
I didn't even know.
Because they don't want you to claim it.
Oh, well, it goes directly into my account.
Oh, even
Yeah.
better. So they're like, he'll figure it out when he sees extra money.
Yeah, I went in and was like, oh, £4 here to buy a couple of tickets. Happy days. Now, if I won millions, they wouldn't just put it in their account.
Yeah. That's funny.
So they wouldn't.
No, they gotta do a little work for that.
Yeah. Verify who you are and all this. But not that I've won it, so I wouldn't know. So anyway, so Gustados arrives, and we also meet Lizzle. Lizzle? How do you say her name? Lisa?
She's Austrian, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know that. Her name's
Australian? Was it not Australian
It's not Australian. I thought it was Austrian.
in real life?
No, in the movie, I thought it was. I could be wrong.
No, she's from Liverpool.
In the
She's
movie?
British. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that he said Austrian, but I could be. I guess I was wrong. Maybe he thought he was Austrian.
No. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get that. I think in real life she was Australian. So because it's mentioned about that, you're right. It is mentioned that. So they sit at a table to eat, and Bond orders an ouzo to drink. Who the hell drinks ouzo with their dinner?
This guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. No.
It's I've had it years ago. It's yeah, you wouldn't have it with your dinner. That's all I'm
No?
gonna say. No, it's very sweet. It's very kind of like I'm trying to think. Is that the peachy one or is that the licorice type one? I can't remember, but I have had it, and it's like a spirit. You just drink it. Like a-
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've never had it. It's like I've never had brandy either. In movies, they're always ordering brandy. So
yeah, no, not with dinner. But they do discuss wines, and Christados suggests Bond is from the British Narcotics Board. And he doesn't let on. He's like, go on.
Mhm.
And that to stop Columbo, he may have to kill him.
He's like, "You
Um,
okay with that?"
Yeah, that's right. He says, are you okay with that? And Bond says, just tell me where he is. And he says, over there with the woman in blue, which is Lisa. And he asks, and the Countess, and she says, Lisa, the Austrian expensive mistress. Bond spies Columbo's dove on his cufflink. So you're right, 100% right. He tells him that, and she's got this accent. But when they go back
And they're having
to,
a little romantic evening. Yeah.
to her house, he says there, where your accent dropped as well. Where are you from, Manchester? And she says, Liverpool.
Mm, that's right. She does say that.
Liverpool. Although Liverpool accent sounds damn like Manchester, so I don't know how he's got that mixed up.
I guess he's not as good as he thinks he is.
No, his early years are gone, his old age. You're not listening, Bond. That bloody music when you were skiing, Olympic music, trumpet must have been blowing on his ear.
Yeah, exactly. His ears are all blown out from the day's work. I mean, he did have a long fucking day.
Yeah, that's true. So, cut this. Well, now we're in Corfu. He was scuba diving and everything.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, man, he lives the life. He's all over all these countries, doing all these different things.
Yeah, his whole life's a biathlon.
Pretty much.
And then load of sacks at the end of it.
Yeah, well, he's got it. Like I said, he's got to blow off steam. He's always trying to get killed anywhere he freaking goes. That's why he's got to drink. He's got to get laid. He's got to gamble. He's got to do it all just to like get through the days.
It's he does more of that than he does spy work.
Hey, listen, MI6 is paying for it.
That's true. Taxpayer. So yeah. Cut to a scene, Columbo. Cut to a scene, and the Columbo he leaves. He goes inside and into like his office in the casino, and he's listening to a recording of Christados and Bond's conversation. Yeah, so he's recording what they're saying because that's his rival, obviously, and I think Christados obviously knows he's going to be listening in on this, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think they both are playing this game with each other. So
they're trying to play Bond off each other without knowing it, right? They try and take each other out.
Exactly.
So I wonder does Christados but I think Christados does genuinely believe he's from the British Narcotics Board. I don't think
Yeah, I don't think that either. What's his name figures it out quicker than him. So it's like,
Columbo.
You're not as smart as you think you are there, Costados.
That's because he's Columbo.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. There you go.
It's one more thing, Mr. Bond.
I
If you're writing a book on Greek smugglers.
It'd been really funny if they would have swapped Peter Falcon just for one scene
and said, where's your notes, Mr. Bond? I don't see any notes around here on Greek smuggling.
That's so fucking funny.
But back in the dining area, Lizzle creates a scene with Columbo. He tells her to get out, and Bond says, this may be an opportunity. And Christados says, this may be a trap. But he tells Bond to take his car and tell the chauffeur to come back for him. So Bond offers to drive Lizzle home, and she says, will you look like a gentleman? Why not?
Just immediately trusting him, just a regular guy in a suit.
Yeah. You'd almost pass for a gentleman.
You could almost pass for a gentleman.
And behind them, at the cards table, is Melina.
She's still floating around.
So she's spying on Bond to see who he was meeting. So in the car ride, Lizzle tells Bond and the Countess Lizzle von Schiefen. Bond says, my name is Bond, and I'm a writer. I'm preparing a novel about Greek smugglers. Do you know any? Subtle, Bond. Subtle. Just ask her straight out. Do you know any smugglers?
This guy never hides his name either. This is a perfect time to lie about your name, but he just never does. He'll lie about his
Yeah.
occupation, but never ever changes his name from James Bond. It's one of the most crazy things.
Well, he couldn't have said like, "My name's Stephen King, and I'm writing a
Anything.
book. I'm writing a book on smugglers."
You're Stephen King. I love your work.
Yeah, I loved your last novel,
I
Salem's Lot. I love Salem's Lot.
was gonna say
Um,
you're coming off probably sounds a lot.
Well, 81, Pet Cemetery just came out.
Oh, okay.
Came
could've
out
been.
just before that. I'm not sure.
All right, so you could have said Pet Cemetery, but no, he's just James Bond, the writer.
I think it was 81. Could be wrong there. Maybe it was later. Maybe it was 87 or something. Maybe I'm getting that totally wrong.
Couldn't even just say Jim.
Yeah.
It's always fucking James.
Yeah. I know Jim or Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy Bond.
Old Jim. That's right.
Yeah. So losing the plot here. Bond says he'd be very grateful if she told him anything or if she could tell him anything. And she says, "I adore a grateful man." Leans in for the Earl. Snog. They pull up outside the house and Bond asks to see her again tomorrow, but she says she's a night person and invites him in for champagne and oysters, John. Champagne and oysters?
Yeah, I fucking hate oysters. I threw my ear right away. I went, keep the oysters. I'll have some champagne though.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had oysters because I don't like the idea of eating anything that's not cooked.
Yeah, but you got to suck it out of the shells. And it's like, ugh, no.
It's still alive, and it's like
Yeah.
grabbing on into your esophagus on the way down. Nah,
No, not for
bad.
me. Nope,
No.
not for me neither. 100%.
See anything raw, sushi and all? No, cooked.
And she's got that lighting around. Like, fucking just cheese and crackers is fine.
Yeah, I know. Well, she's like, countess. She's not going to say,
Yeah.
"You want
I
to
mean,
come in?
beautiful house. So, yeah.
Do you want to come in for a beer and a slice of pizza?"
Yeah,
It's
that's what you're getting with me.
like April O'Neil, frozen pizza.
Yeah. At least that got the turtles all perked up. But
You know?
I guess a gentleman like Bond wouldn't want that.
Almost password gentleman. So Bond tells the chauffeur or the driver, "I won't need you tonight anymore." So
Yeah, we know what he's already got planned.
and the wee chauffeur's got a wee cheeky smile in his face, thinking, "Oh, I know what you're getting up to." He was already watching him in the mirror. Dirty git.
He's like, I had to turn down a young girl yesterday. Let me have this.
Yeah, there's more. I was gonna say it's more my age range, but it's not really.
She's still younger, that's for sure.
Yeah, about 20 years. I
At
would
least it's
say
better than 35.
it's true. So then we, as we're saying, go into this whole weird love scene. John turns into like a date romance movie.
Wearing Columbo's robe.
He is, yeah. I've wrote here like Conte's love theme, like a trumpet score as well is going on, in the background, and
All very romantic.
it is all very
Got the
romantic.
fire going.
Yeah, Bond in a red and black striped dressing gown, front of an open fire, drinking champagne, and that's where he says, she says, my nighting ear dropped, and he says, "So did your accent, Countess? Where you from? Manchester?" And that's when she says, "Liverpool." And he quizzes her on the performance between her and Columbo back at the casino. And she tells him that Columbo told her he's a spy and to find out more about him. And Bond says, "And have you?" And she says, "Have I ever?"
Just right away, man. This has never happened to me in my entire life. And this happens to Bond over like fucking 3 days.
I know. And they kiss, and I don't know if you noticed. I noticed this when I was watching the trailer. When I was making the notes, I looked out for it again, and right enough, you can see a bit of nipple.
Yeah, well, again, it's an R-rated film, right? No, PG-13 actually.
I'd say PG, and I think it's maybe slipped by the old censors.
Yeah, the old censors didn't catch that nip slip, did they?
Nope, definitely not. Just about to say he pours the wine champagne. If you're watching as the camera pans down, there it is, dangling out of the 90 near dropped.
I know. It's always just got to be implied that they're having sex. Everyone knows it, but it's not like she's whipping her tits out. And he's like, "Oh my," God, it just goes right in.
Turns the different scale porno, stays there for a fortnight, and then
That's
the
where the
Russians
score would really work for a good porno.
food, and then the Russians get the attack, and that's the end of the world. And then
That-
the minister's sitting there going, "Where the hell is Bond?"
Let me tell you about the night I had. And then he's like, all right.
I'm ratting him with a jacket over the shoulder. Where have you been, Bond, for 2 weeks? The Russians have the attack. Oh well, I just met this countess. Yeah.
We turned the clocks off. We had a great time. The world's
Yeah.
over. Well,
London doesn't exist anymore. But as I say, it continues into the next day, and they're walking
yeah,
along the
walking
beach.
on the beach and
It's
everything.
and this music's going. And she's like, "You can use my car when you want to leave," and he's like, "Oh, I thought I could stay for breakfast." You kicking me out, Countess? But they're ambushed by Locke and a few goons, including Charles Dance.
in fucking sand buggies, by the way. I was thinking, like, where did they have these just lying around on the beach somewhere? Like, did they rent them? Like, these aren't things that people just have around.
Maybe that's why they couldn't attack during the night. It took them so long to get there.
Yeah, they got
The
the fucking
buggies.
buggies. Like, they have the motorcycles with the guns the day before. Quite an arsenal of cars.
But it's just popped into my head, and it popped in my head when I was taking my notes. And I didn't take a note on this because I thought I'll remember this, and I did. This is a throwback to the start of an Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Ah, yes. Well, this did feel like the most George Lazenby kind of scene, honestly, with the romance and everything.
But even the way he's dressed,
With
just
the
with the
white?
slacks and the white shirt.
Yeah,
That's the way Lazenby was at the start on the beach, and it's kind of like dawn as well.
yeah, you're right. That is a great call.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of beaching fucking on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Mm-hmm. And Lizzle's death is brutal.
It's absolutely brutal. They show you the whole thing of her getting hit by the buggy and fucking her head hitting the windshield.
Yeah, the crack out of it too.
Yeah, and he had to go over and check.
It's very realistic. But just as Locke and Dance are about to take Bond out, Dance is killed by an arrow to the back, and Bond kicks Locke's gun out of his hand. And Locke takes off. I love that wee bit of action. It's well shot, so it is that bit of action. You can really see the difference in the action in this as well, by the way, compared to even the 70s and then the 60s.
Well, I think that's where John Glenn's direction actually comes in. That's very good. Don't forget, he was like doing a lot of second unit direction, and he was probably shooting a lot of action sequences. Now he's at the helm, and he's really good at that.
Yeah. And of course, being an editor, he
Yeah.
knows how to shoot because he knows when he gets in that editing booth how to do it.
Where the cuts are going to be. Yeah, he does a great job with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I
100%.
said, it's a very well made film. I know what you're saying about like some of the TV movie scenes, and that's kind of where the love scene kind of felt like a TV movie kind of esque, but like the action sequence are very well done.
I still love it because I love kind of like movie is so it's a 2 hour movie and it does feel it, but it briskly goes along. But I like those slower moments, gives you time to breathe, and it does kind of shift gears in this scene. It feels weird with the music.
Oh yeah, it picks up after this like
And
you
it's-
said 10-minute like almost love sequence. It picks up again.
It picks up again, but it's just this whole love scene with this woman he literally met like 5 minutes earlier, and it's like they're in love.
Yeah. And it ends in tragedy. Another one that got away.
Yeah. And again, I just feel like that's just a whole throwback there on Her Majesty's Secret Service. But the frogmen come out of the sea. Bond lifts Locke's gun and checks on Lizzle, and he's no. It just shows he literally doesn't really have any feelings for her anyway. He did call after her before she got hit by the buggy because he just obviously doesn't want to see an innocent woman killed. But it just shows you the coldness of Bond. He moves on as he's like, "Goodbye, Candace."
Yeah, that's it. Right away.
Uh-huh.
He's like, that's it's over now. He went through he can't love again. We know that about him. He only loved one person. He doesn't get close anymore.
And it shows that at the very start of the movie.
Mhm.
So he notices the frogmen have the dove logo on their wetsuits, and he's like, "Oh, hold on!" And then someone hits him in the back of the head and knocks him out.
Mhm. Another thing, this guy just has to have like 40 concussions with the amount of times that happens to him.
Yeah, early Alzheimer's setting in for that. Bond awakes aboard a yacht and is taken to Colombo. He tells Bond Kristatos is one is the one he wants. Columbo only smuggles gold, diamonds, cigarettes, and pistachio nuts.
He's got a little bit more morals than Gustav.
Yeah, it's nothing that's gonna kill people.
Not
Like,
heroin.
it's not heroin. He says that. He says, but not heroin. And he's sitting, he's crunching on his pistachio nuts. I was sitting thinking, don't get high on your own supply, Columbo.
He obviously has watched The Godfather and knows, like, I draw the line at drugs.
Yeah. And he tells him Christados is working with Russia against Greece and Great Britain and wants Columbo out of the way. He invites Bond to go with him to Christados' warehouse in Albania and gains Bond's trust by giving him a drink and his gun back.
Look, see, I'm not that bad of a guy after all. I also like the performance of Columbo, by the way. He's a very charming guy.
Yeah, I really like this guy in it. I wasn't familiar with him. A lot of people know him as Top Hole because he made his name in Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, and it just seems to be older people are very familiar with him, and I'm like,
No, I didn't get it either. Nice mustache, though.
like his mustache, yeah, like his character. He's kind of like Bond always kind of picks his allies up in these movies, and as you say, sometimes it's like Felix Leiter or somebody like that. So this kind of feels like a substitute for Felix Leiter, but it's for the purposes of the story. It's a Greek smuggler who's a rival to Christados, and then Christados pretends to act the good guy and saying Columbo's the bad guy, and we're going along with that, and Bond's going along with that, and then and it's all sinister with Columbo like recording him and setting him up with this girl, and then when the Frogmen take Bond with the dove symbols, you think, oh, this is the bad guy, and then when he flips it on his head and says, no, he was describing himself to you and telling you it was me. It's like, do we trust this guy? Can we trust this guy? He hands him a drink. He says, we'll have a drink on it. And Bond's like, I'll have a drink tomorrow. And Bond pulls that out one he always pulls off. If I'm not back tomorrow, they're going to come down on you and take a ton of bricks. And that's when he says, we'll have a drink tomorrow. And then he's a bit insulted by that. He sets the drinks down, but he gives him his gun back. And when he gives him his gun back, Bond thinks, well, Jesus, he wouldn't give me my gun back if he was, the bad guy. He says to Bond, Mr. Bond, you have what the Greeks call thrasos, guts. And Bond cocks the gun and points it at him. And you see there's this worried look on his face, as if, is he going to shoot me? And he says,
So have you, Mr. Columbo.
That's where they kind of smile and then they have a wee drink.
Mm-hmm. They can move on.
So he's going to trust him to bring him to this warehouse and see what's happening. And they arrive there, and we see Locke. He's standing there with his wee clipboard. His checklist of heroin.
This is what he does when he's not out there being a hitman. He's like, oh, he's like, listen, I'm paying you. You got to take care of the warehouse as well.
Listen. So you didn't get Bond. You couldn't catch him. You couldn't assassinate him. And he's like, nah, he got away. Well, all right. Well, you may go to that warehouse and take stock.
Yeah, you're taking the night. You got the night shift tonight. Have fun.
It's not my shift. I don't care.
I don't care.
Go out and look after the night. You go out and look after a warehouse. If you can't catch Bond, then maybe you can look after the warehouse.
Exactly. It's ridiculous.
He's starting to those big fucking Jeffrey Dahmer glasses on.
Still wearing the same shit. Yeah.
His stuff. I laughed at that when I seen that to make a note of that when I seen him with his clipboard. He's like taking notes, how many orders of heroin have I got this week? So I say, I hate the night shift. I hate these long ass night shifts.
These fucking hours suck.
I have to find myself a better boss than Christados.
What a dick.
But Columbo's men make an assault on the hideout and a firefight ensues. So while sneaking around inside, they encounter a gym, diving equipment for salvage work at depths of more than 300 feet.
So they know where he's going.
Yeah. So I love how they're sneaking around this wee warehouse. And I think it's Christados near bumps into the suit. He's like, "What the hell is this?" And Bond has to tell him what it is. Every little detail, wee bit of exposition for the audience later on. This is what this is.
Yeah, we need that so we know, like, for the next scene.
The giant drums are filled with raw opium, and Columbo throws out his pistachio nuts. That old trick, John.
Oh yeah, like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Somebody's walking along, the big crunch.
Yeah.
They're getting closer. And Locke's rigging a detonator to a main. This warehouse just has a big, massive main in there for some reason.
It's a well-equipped warehouse.
We've got everything here: opium, pistachio nuts, sea mains.
Anything you could want.
I mean, you want. They shoot a rope to one of the drums, and it crushes one of the bad guys. And Bond sees the detonator in the main. He tells the men to retreat. And when they're coming out, Locke detonates it. Pretty sure that explosion probably would have killed Bond. He seemed pretty close.
It did seem close. Well, it's all right. He's James Bond. He can survive these things. He's been through worse.
Yeah, not even a scratch. But Locke leaves in his car, but Bond pursues him on foot, running up like 1,000 steps. He's in a car and he's just running up steps.
He'll catch him. He's in great shape.
He is in great shape. Listen, his life, as I said, is a biathlon. You know what I mean? He's been skiing. You know what I mean?
And he lines up to shoot him like it's a biathlon too. The way he gets it.
Oh, yeah. He cuts him off, as you said. He shoots him off the road, and the car crashes, and it's heading over a cliff. And Bond pulls out the dove pin, and he says,
"You left this with Ferrara, I believe."
Throws it into the car at Locke, and then he just kicks it off the edge. And the rest of the gang come up, and they're standing watching the car at the bottom, his body on the rocks, and he says, "Had no head for heights." Now, apparently, Moore and Ghislaine had a big debate about whether or not Bond would kick the car off the edge. Moore thought that it would work better if he just threw the pin in and then it fell over. But Ghislaine felt as if he wanted more of a rougher edge for Bond, so he wanted him to kick it off the edge to show his ruthless streak. And Moore didn't want to do it, and they had to talk him into actually doing it.
I agree with John Glenn on this.
So do I.
I do. I really think you got to show it. I think you got to show that. What the pin, just the extra weight of the pin, fucking is what makes him fall off the cliff. Are you kidding me?
I know. And this guy's a scumbag. You see him just run over the Countess. It doesn't matter what you had feelings for. He's just a brute. You've read he's a brutal killer. He's a psychopath. And I do like the fact that he kicks him off. And it's a fitting end as well. I think it would have been a disservice just to kind of throw the pin in, but I think Bond was kind of still looking, Moore was probably still looking at it through his kind of Moonraker eyes.
Yeah, I get where he's coming from, but I disagree. That's the director made the right call on that.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. So cut to Corfu, underwater at the Greek temple salvage site. Bond catches up with Melina. Here's a bit of trivia for you. See when you see the close-up, don't know if you know this, of him and Melina together. Do you know that's not filmed underwater?
Yes, I actually did know that because I believe it was the actress who played Melina couldn't do underwater stuff, right?
She had an issue. She had a health issue, so she couldn't scuba dive. So they done it like dry, and then with wind machines and stuff like that, and
slowed it down and everything.
Slowed it down and then added the bubbles in post-production. I think it's amazing. You wouldn't even know any different.
No, you wouldn't. That's movie magic for you.
That's so creative. So good.
It's awesome. Yeah. I agree with her though. I honestly, I don't think I would be able to do an underwater sequence. I'm always very afraid of drowning.
No, I'd love to do it. See when you see that water in the Bahamas, the clear water, and it's only about 30 foot deep. That to me is amazing. That's like being in a massive pool. But see if I was to go diving, say, off the coast of like Ireland here, the Irish Sea or the Atlantic or anything, I think that would terrify me because it's cold, it's dark, it's murky, you don't know what the hell's in there. If it's like in a bathtub and the water's warm in the Bahamas, and I don't mean warm like, warm, but it's not cold, I would love to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I don't think I would ever in a million years I'd be able to do that. I
Yeah.
like the ocean a little bit, but I like it like up to here, and that's it.
But I know that they've done like miniature work underwater before, or sorry, dry, and made it look like underwater, where they put like mist and stuff in, and as you say, slow it down and stuff like that, but to do it for like actual living, breathing people, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was incredible.
hmm So on board the Triana, Bond reveals the temple was a front, and Christados killed Melina's father so he wouldn't find the St. George's first. Here we found out Max the Parrot repeats every word.
Mhm.
They check Melina's father's log and determine he sighted a wreck the day he was killed while in the Neptune, a 2-man sub. They decide to check it out. Now, be a little clear, John. Would it not have been best to check this out first?
It would have made sense. It definitely would have made sense.
But then another thing crossed my mind. That makes sense. But that boat was a crime scene.
It was. I mean, it was literally sunken. They just left it,
And-
huh?
But not the boat that sunk. The Triana, the yacht that her father and mother were gunned down.
Oh
in.
yeah, you would think
That's a
that police.
crime scene. You
Yeah.
would think that since he was working for MI6, that they would have taken that over and checked that whole boat out for any clues or evidence who would have killed him, and came across his journal and went, "Oh, he's found the wreck."
Yeah, it would have made a lot of sense. But apparently, they MI6 didn't do their due diligence on that one.
No, but they've got Bond arsing about bloody Europe.
Yeah, that's their only plan. That's their only play for this whole thing.
Yeah, but we'll overlook that just for the sake of the movie.
The movie has to have it.
Yeah. So, I just have to say, I love this rendition of the Bond score when they cut to the sub moving through the water.
I like it as well. I do.
It's really good, isn't it?
Mhm.
And so they find the wreck of the St. George's and decide to enter the ship. But above the surface sits Christados' ship, and there's a sonar buzzes, and he says, "We have a visitor below." Meanwhile, inside the ship, Bond and Melina find the bodies of the crew. So very grim. Shocked me the first time I remember watching this a few years ago that all them bodies are all kind of like lying there, dead,
Yeah, but they would be because no one went down there to that wreckage at all. So
hmm
it makes sense. It's smart to do that because why would they just disappear?
Oh, yeah. Well, do you think maybe the sharks might be eating them?
Yeah, that's true. Free dinner.
Yeah. Don't have to work for it. But yeah, it's still grim. And we see the ATAC, and Bond notes the destruct timer is set at 1 minute. For some reason, the lever wasn't pulled. And then he also notes the transmitter with the thermite charge. He needs to cut the wires to release the attack. But meanwhile, sinister breathing approaches with Jaws-like music.
He does approach. That's a good point.
And when I was looking into the soundtrack, it says that Bill Conti plays the Jaws theme as a homage.
That makes sense. I mean, it's very much like when you think of the water. What's the first thing that pops, especially in 1981? So
It's 81,
again.
Jaws very much still in the Segi, a couple of years after Jaws 2.
And this is when he's in that fucking white suit, right?
Yes.
The
So
white sperm suit.
that's right. A goon and Jim attacks them.
I
But, John, I thought they blew that suit up.
guess they probably had a couple.
Yeah, they must have a few of them knocking about. That's just to explain what it is in
Listen,
the other scene.
They had dune buggies, so they got everything. They got dune
Yeah,
buggies and motorcycles with guns. They got more than one of these suits.
Suppose that was probably in the warehouse too on his fucking checklist. Dune buggies, motorbikes with
Heroin.
guns, yeah, gym equipment. You know what I mean? Bloody everything. He's got everything in there. What was I going to say here? See this whole scene as well. It's funny, because RO Video are bringing this out very soon. Inner Space. You've seen Inner Space, haven't you?
I have, and I have the 4K. My Faith got that for me for my birthday, so it's pre-ordered.
The RO Video, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have it coming.
I have a pre-order as well. I bought it in Blu-ray a few years back and haven't even opened it yet because I was hoping me and my daughter would watch it together, but never got around it. So I've got that in pre-order because it's one of my childhood favorites. But this whole scene here with them fighting in the suits reminds me of that scene.
You know, that didn't pop
Inner
in my head,
Space.
but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, even with the sub when they come out and they're fighting in the subs, just like I just feel like Inner Space stole it from this.
Had to have. It's only a few years later, Inner Space, isn't it?
It's like 87, isn't it?
87?
I
So
think
it's
something like that.
so it's
Yeah.
after, yeah, because it's 84. I was gonna say 84, but 84 is Gremlins. So that's
Yeah.
what Joe Dante was working on 84, and it's after that.
Yeah, it's definitely later than this. Like it's no earlier than 81, but
No.
I think it's around 80. I think it's 87 or 86, in around then.
So Joe Dante is a big fan of For Your Eyes Only. That's what it is.
He's ripped them off. So he has. But Bond attaches the thermite charge to the gym.
How convenient.
Yeah, it's just conveniently there's an explosive there and manages to escape with the attack back to the sub while the goon goes boom. And so as they get ready to leave, their sub is attacked by another sub, but Bond forces it into the hole in the ship and they get away. So he's on his way back and he hits the Greek temple. I like how she's like, careful, James, it's 5,000 years old. You know, the same age as Bond.
Yeah, pretty much.
The sub is brought to the surface. However, when Melina and Bond emerge, Gustatus is waiting with them.
I thought this was Bellic.
Sorry, he's waiting for them. Yeah, Belloc, yeah.
Let them do all the work and then take it from him.
And then taking it from him, pretty much, yeah. I wonder why they hadn't retrieved it before then. Do you think that they didn't know how to remove it without it exploding?
I guess that's what they're basically saying, because I thought about that too. Well, they said in the beginning they couldn't go there because of like where it was in the sea, because like he asked them why they didn't go, but I'm like, but then why are they allowed to go there now?
Oh, they don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they didn't know because, well, he's there. He's starting with East German champion Eric Krigler with gun in hand. And Cristado says, thank you, Mr. Bond. You have saved us the trouble of disarming it. So I think maybe they didn't know how to disarm it.
That's
and
probably,
maybe
yeah,
why.
you're right. Yeah,
Because they
you're
knew
right.
where it was and they could go down it because he had the suit that could go down more than 300 feet. They had the wee sub and the suits and everything else. But I think they just didn't know. And he's disarmed it and they went, well, we'll just take it now.
Yeah, he did the work for us. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Bond.
Yeah.
He instructs what's his name? Apostas to take the attack. And I want to note here, might be familiar to yourself, John. I thought Apostas looks very much like a Newcastle United midfielder, a player called Sandro Tonali, an Italian. He looks very much like him. And I
He's
seen
a
it the
very
other day. I
fit
was like,
man.
he looks like Tonali.
He's a very fit man. I don't know who that was, but that's a very fit gentleman, that's for sure.
Yeah. Look Tonali up and you'll see he looks like Apostas.
Mhm.
So Christatus tells them they will be joining her crew soon. She says, where's my crew? And he says, don't worry, you'll be joining them soon. However, Bond asks him to let Melina go and they will double what he's getting paid. And he says, I never go back on a deal. It would be bad for my reputation.
I get that.
In the cabin, Christastos tells East German champion Eric Krigler
Ah!
that the Russians agreed to meet at a place designated by him, and once they pay, he'll hand the attack over. It may not be left out of your. It must not be left out of your sight. Apostos. I've written that down wrong. Sorry, I'm starting to get tired here. I think you can tell. We will take the attack to St. Cyril's.
Smart man.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Bond and Melina are being tied together on deck. Melina says, I didn't think it would end like this. And Bond says, we're not dead yet. So they drag them overboard through the water. Tiger sharks are circling. And Bond wraps the line around a rock. It snaps, a boy knocking a crew member over to be ate by the sharks. Now, remember our Titanic episode on Axis?
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't remember the name of the guy who I watched in my first ever shark documentary
Yeah,
when I was a kid. Yeah. So I remembered it after, of course. But when I started watching this, I went, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. He worked on this movie too. He's a man called Al Giddings.
Al
Okay.
Giddings. Okay.
Al Giddings. I looked him up. He's still alive. He's like 89.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, I couldn't believe he's still alive. And in that shark documentary that I have on VHS, and I've converted it over to DVD since, I looked it up. It came out in 1991. It was ABC World of Discovery, and it shows you this scene being filmed with the tiger sharks.
Oh, really?
Yes. He also worked on The Deep, and he also, as I say, you see him at the start of Titanic because he helped. He actually went down, and he says he's visited the Titanic several occasions. And I think he manned some of the submarines when Cameron went down.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's why Cameron probably let him in there. Like, give you a little cameo.
Oh yeah, yeah. And as I said, that's probably actual footage of them going down that time. That's why he's there. Probably had a wee camera in there, and he also done the second unit photography, underwater photography in the Bahamas.
Oh, nice. So he knows his
Yeah.
way around some filmmaking.
Oh yeah, yeah. It seems like such a great guy, great filmmaker and stuff. And that was the very first shark documentary I ever watched in the early 90s. Got off my ETS. I watched that over and over and over again, and it showed you this, as I say, this scene, how they kind of trained the tiger sharks and had them come up and go past the stuntman and make it look like it was attacking them and things like that.
Yeah, interesting. I'd still be scared as a stuntman, but that's their job.
Yeah, especially with tiger sharks. Jesus.
Yeah, but hey,
Yeah.
that's what you get paid the big bucks for. I hope.
But Costados orders the ship to run them down, but Melina leads Bond to the salvage site and the loose scuba tank. So she took a scuba tank off earlier, remember, and left it. Why?
Yeah, for this exact scenario, obviously.
How do you know what was going to happen?
She's smart. She's smart.
See in the future. And then Costados gives up. He says, the sharks have got them.
Yeah, he hopes.
Yeah. You think they would have sunk her boat?
Yeah, really, right? But no, he's just fucking done with it. He's like, this has already been more annoying than I thought it would be.
Back in the cabin, Bond and Melina think Costados has gotten away with it all to Moscow. However, the pirate Max says, Attack to Sincerals. Attack to Sincerals.
See, he repeats everything.
So they put two and two together, and they're like, oh, that's where he must be going.
Mhm.
So Bond arrives at St. Searles. He enters a chapel confessional box where Q awaits dressed as a priest.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
That's putting it mildly, 007. Your signal sent Whitehall into shock.
Well, he tells Bond they've located 439 St. Searles in Greece, but Bond tells him, I know a well-informed person to contact about that Q.
We all know who that's going to be. Mr. Columbo.
This scene here is like irrelevant. I mean, the thing is that, right, I understand maybe from a practical point of view, he's kind of like, right, I'll St. Searles, I'll get back to the head office and I'll ask him, look, where do you think this guy could have went? And the head office will look into it for me. So that's why he's meeting with Q for Q to say, oh, we've so many St. Searles here. And then he's like, well, Columbo would know which one he might go to because they used to be partners. But you could just do away with the scene completely and just cut the Columbo, bring them to where it is. That would make more sense. So it feels like to me they only put this scene in here so Q could have another cameo.
Yeah, to give him the laugh of the confessional, and because he gets the little line confess me for I have sinned, and he's like, well, that's an understatement.
Yeah, and he's got the beard and all. He's dressed like a priest and all that business.
Yeah. So when people ask questions like, the priest went in there with a beard and he came out with none and he's just leaving now.
Does he have a shave in there?
Yeah, what are you doing there?
Yeah. Why did he have to take it off? As if, did you not recognize me, 007?
And do you tell the real priest there, listen, I'm gonna go do this thing real quick. Like, what the fuck?
There's a wedding or something outside, isn't there? She's probably out there drinking the wine.
That's true, exactly. He's having a good time.
So, cut to Columbo, as you said, John, leading Melina and Bond, all dressed as monks, up a mountain.
Up a mountain to this, and then where they fucking are at the top of this goddamn gigantic rock.
No, he says, St. Searles, where we used to hide from the Germans. Only Costados would make an abandoned monastery his personal retreat. Really? Okay. Because he was like, I was thinking the same thing. So Columbo directs Bond on how to make his way up to the mountain. Mountain is hated. So see this whole like set piece at the end of this movie. Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like the James Bond game that came out in the mid-90s. What was it called?
Oh, thank you.
GoldenEye?
Yes, that would be Golden. I would be the good one.
Columbo muses, we should have brought more of my people. And Melina says, James is counting on on surprise. Why?
I know. If we have more people available to us, it'll be better regardless. I don't think they're also looking on the side of the mountain like this, but I don't know.
Well, they're stuck on top of a mountain. They can't go anywhere. So all you got to do is bring a load of men in to surround the bottom, and then bring a load of helicopters in above. And
He's got MI6 at his disposal, right? Can't they like freaking bring in helicopters?
Yeah, that's the Brad's saying. Bring in the SS.
I told you, man. He getting knocked out too much by these guns. He's not thinking clearly anymore.
Well, I've wrote here, James is just acting the big balls in front of Melina.
That's true. But Melina's there with her fucking goddamn bow.
Oh, yeah. Because Columbo says, but we're only 5 men. And Melina says, I'm 1 woman, and lifts the arrow gun, like, as if, give me it over, I'm here. And you're right, John. I love this as well. This cuts to the next scene. The shot of the attack under the mural of Jesus.
It's a good shot. It's a good looking shot. Yeah. But it's like, oh, Jesus is watching over the attack.
Yeah. And the music as well.
Oh, yeah. The music is great.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's really nice. It's a lovely shot the way it comes down. There it is. And then pans out into the actual inside the monastery. Mm-hmm. And we have East German champion Eric Krigler, Sandro Tonali, aka Apostas, and Kristatos.
All hanging out.
Pacing the floor, waiting for this Russian helicopter arriving.
Mm-hmm. And the guy's going to come get it personally.
Yep, he is, yeah. So Bond starts to climb the mountain, and we can see the top is heavily guarded with men with guns.
Mm-hmm.
So then we cut the BB training with Coach Jacob at Brink when Kristatos comes in. So it turns out they're in the monastery too. And Kristatos tells them they are going to live in Cuba for a few months. But BB says she wants to skate. I want to win the gold medal. And he says she can. And he will be her private audience. And BB says, I know what you want, but you're too old for me. I'm splitting. So finally, she's finally splitting from this guy.
It's about goddamn time.
But if he's too old, Bond isn't too old.
No, they look like they're about the same age. If not, Bond's a little bit older.
Yeah.
Bond's a little more attractive, I guess.
Just a little. I believe that they actually worked together on The Saint.
Oh, and I also read that the guy was in consideration to be James Bond, was he not?
I think I heard that as well when I was watching the making of. Yeah,
but he was too young at the time.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And now he's too old.
Now he's too old. So it all comes full circle in life, doesn't it?
Well, what is it? That line of The Dark Knight, is it you either die a hero, you live long enough to see yourself become the villain?
I mean, actually, you've heard those stories many times through life, haven't you? Though of people like almost overstaying their welcome here on Earth.
oh yeah. But this actor, he was too old to play Bond, so he became the villain.
Yeah. All right. Listen, hey, I'll take the job any which way I can get it, right?
So Kristatos blames Brink on BB turning against him, which is very odd, and threatens she'll be dealt with for betraying him. So is there any reason really for these two to be here?
No.
I mean, how did he get them there in the first place? You're coming with me to this monastery.
Yeah, do they not take the helicopter there? How they get there?
well, they get in the basket, and then some. Well, who pulls the basket up? Oh, it's like a electric winch, isn't it? But Bond has to climb up to put it down, and then winches them up. So I don't know how does the winch? Is there somebody always there?
Maybe there's got to always be somebody there to do that, so that everyone can get up, right?
Yeah, like a monk.
It's got to be someone there at all times, yeah. Or else that's it. We're locked off unless you do what Bond does, and that doesn't look safe.
Apparently, they were going to use one of these real type of monasteries that are out there, and it was agreed with the townsfolk. And when they got there, the monks refused to let them fill them. Said the money hadn't come through. So what they done was they actually then found another one of those like mountains, and they built a fake monastery on it and filmed there instead. And they said afterwards it actually went to court with the local people versus the monks. And the local people actually won their case because the whole question threw up then who owns these buildings, who's responsible for them. The monks says they did, and the people said they did, and it went to court, and the people won.
Oh wow, really? So basically, the monks were like, "Don't cheap out on us now."
Yeah. They were like Cristados, give me the money, show me the money, I'll give you the attack. So he tells Apostos to go outside and check the guards. Tell me when the helicopter arrives. So Bond's still making his way up the side of the mountain. So, as I say, really like this whole set piece, John. The whole gang's watching him from below. They're creeping up and they're watching. And he gets to the top, and Apostos kicks him off. And I love how, like, when he's rolling, down the side of the mountain, you see him like grab a rock to clench onto it, and the rock comes off, and he rolls off with the rock.
Yeah, that's terrible luck. I would be out after that. This is already too much.
Bond's shimmying up as Apostos knocks the metal studs out with his gun, and then eventually he kills him with one of the metal studs. He throws at him like a knife, and he falls to his death. But apparently Moore, even though you used a stuntman, as I mentioned at the start of the pod, for that falling down the rope, but Moore apparently didn't like doing any of that scene where he was like having to climb up the side of the mountain. I know he obviously didn't climb up it, but he had to do some of that because he hates heights.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do this either at all, no matter what it is. But the stuntman just got to swallow that and be like, "That's my job."
Yeah, well, the stuntman said that I think he'd done stunts in previous Bond movies, so they said, "Oh, he'll do it," and he went, "Yeah, of course." And then when it came time to do it, he had to go into the special effects people and say, "Listen, you're gonna have to build me a rig. I don't know how to do this." So they built him like this rig that straps him in, and then he had to climb up and then just jump off. And he says that goes against all instinct. You don't jump off at that height. And he just hoped that the rope wouldn't snap when he falls down. He says the jerk is what actually can kill you. But the harness stopped that. But he says he was worried that the rope was going to snap then with the force. He says he still had something like 350 feet left to drop.
That's scary as hell. You
Yeah,
put a lot of reliance on that shit. Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's fucking. And then on top of that, you got to still look like Bond. So it's like, I'm doing this for a fucking movie.
Yeah. Well, he says he had the £900 or $900 wig to look like.
He's got to have that fucking blue vest on too and everything.
Oh yeah. Knitted jumper.
yeah, nice little jumper on him with the fucking knitted blue vest with the nice blue vest on there with the diamond pattern. Like, I look like Bond. He doesn't have to go throw himself off the side of this cliff like I do.
I mean, do you ever, like, when you're about to fall asleep and then you kind of like you feel like you're falling and you just jump up? You're like, Jesus,
Yeah, so except he actually did it.
He actually did it. Yeah, fuck that. But Bond then directs the team across as he makes his way up and into the monastery to lower the basket to hoist them up. And Melina arrows one of the goons. But meanwhile, Bibi and Brink are packing to leave, and the KGB helicopter is on its way with General Gogol aboard. So as you say, John, he's coming personally to collect this. Couldn't send one of his goons just to make sure he has to go. So after Columbo KOs the tied up goon, the team run in there leaving Brink. They agree to help her leave if she helps them locate Cristados, but she leads them to a room full of sleeping men who they take captive. So I assume that's the rest of his like gang, is it?
Yeah, I guess they're all just resting.
So Bibi confronts Cristados as she can't find Brink, and he hits her. There's like this weird jump cut though. He slaps her.
Yeah, I noticed that cut too. That's so funny you said that because I'm guessing like they couldn't get the slap right, and so it's like, I just got to cut around this.
What have you done to her?
Go back to your room.
You can go to hell.
I'm thinking, maybe it was too obvious that it didn't hit her.
Yeah, like she went down too soon or something like that. She was a figure skater, maybe not a trained actor, and they couldn't get the hit right.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna actually hit this fucking girl.
Yeah, so they put like this jump cut in, and then do the slap sound. It's still weird, like it's still weird looking.
It's noticeable.
Yeah. So as the KGB helicopter closes in, Bond and Columbo fight two goons, and Bond is knocked through a stained glass window. East German champion Eric Krigler points a gun at him, but BB knocks it out of his hand and gets another, and she gets another slap. She goes flying this time, and see Bond looking, and Bond and Krigler fight. Gustavus leaves with the attack, and Bond knocks Krigler out the window. So he goes to lift like a stone flower pot, and then he lifts. What is that? It's like I thought it was like a poker type thing, but it's not. It's like a stand for, I don't know what this stand was for, but he uses that to push the concrete flower pot, and the weight of it throws him out the window. He rolls down the roof, falls to his death.
That was the guy in the pink shirt, right?
Who he knocks out the window?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what guy. It was one of the guys that falls to his death. Looks
Yeah.
like, yes, he looks like a freak. You could clearly tell they switched to a dummy throwing it off the cliff because the way it's falling, it's just like so obvious. Like it's like a dummy because the arms.
I told Stop, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't remember what he was wearing, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, because it shows him rolling down the roof, and then it cuts to like a wide
A
shot.
wide shot,
Like a
yeah.
dummy, like kind of like you can tell it's not a human. Like yeah,
They just threw the dummy off, like, it'll be fine.
yeah. BB's like, you know, doesn't like this violence. She doesn't know what she's in for. She only went there to learn how to ice skate and win an Olympic medal. Now she's
What
in
the
middle
hell
of
is all
war.
this? What are you into,
What's
Uncle?
going on? Yeah, Uncle Ari's running about with this, as you say, Fisher Price kind of keyboard type thing.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a fucking Fisher Price thing, right?
Yeah, and all hell's breaking loose. 1 minute she's packing the lead. Next minute this is all kicking off. But Columbo chases after Kristatos, and they fight. Bond grabs the attack as Melina lifts her crossbow to shoot Kristatos, but Bond stands in her way. He says, "No, Melina, that's not the answer. We'll turn him over to the police." And she says, "Out of my way, James." And he says, "All right, but be prepared to be prepared to dig those two graves."
Now, she's already killed the guy who killed her parents. At this point, she's got him dead to rights. Who cares?
Yeah, you know, and like she knows that this thing is bigger than just her dad. And you know, I'm not making excuses, but it's just like, you know, she's got like the law on her side. She knows it wasn't just done for the sake of it. She knows that her dad was on a mission and they get caught up in this. And yeah, and but I suppose that's her whole arc and the whole moral.
Yeah,
of the
that's
story.
true. Yeah, exactly. You need to have this, and like Columbo stops her from doing it because he does it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if Columbo hadn't have threw the knife out and killed, well, he pulls a flick knife out. He's about to stab Bond, I think, because he's
Yeah.
on the side, and Columbo throws his knife and hits him in the back and kills him. So if he hadn't done that, the chances are Bond might have been fatally stabbed, but Melina would have shot him with a crossbow anyway.
Yeah, so Columbo saves the day again.
Mm-hmm. There's just one more thing. Take that for status. Imagine it just cut the Peter Falk rather than
with the big coat
top
on, the
off.
beige coat on. He's
the trench coat and the cigar.
Like I said, just do it for one shot. Like, you know, Columbo exists.
And as we Peugeot is parked on the mountain.
Make this movie just a half a point better.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, that'd be so good. I love it. I love Columbo. But General Gogol approaches Bond. Well, he lands and he approaches Bond with an armed guard with his hand out, and Bond throws the attack away over the mountain.
Yeah, you hear that explosion it makes when it fucking smashes, the noise it makes.
Yeah, that's like real stock. I think that's like real stock sounds you heard throughout the whole of the 80s and like shows like the A-Team.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a plastic piece of fucking, like I said, Fisher Price thing. It ain't making that noise. It's just gonna be like,
Yeah.
like
Well, because I had the subtitles on, when it hit the ground, it come up in brackets in capital letters, thunderous crash. And I was gonna write it down, but I thought nah. But since you mentioned it,
It's ridiculous.
I just wrote it's mices because I was gonna write it explodes, but it doesn't explode. It
No,
just
it doesn't
smices.
explode, but it makes an explosion noise.
And it does, and it does, and that's why I was like, even in the subtitles, like thunderous crash.
I'm like, it's plastic.
But it's brilliant. But Bond smiles, and he says, "That's Dentites, comrade. You don't have it. I don't have it." And he laughs and leaves. What a
He's like-
wasted trip.
That's probably what he thought. No, well, we didn't have it before. We don't got it now. It would have been nice to have, but that's all right. I'm leaving.
He kind of
Eh.
goes against the Bond. He goes, "They got," and Bond goes.
Yeah, like whatever.
So Brink and BB are tending to Columbo, and Bond says, it seems that BB has a new sponsor."
What?
They're helping him out, and everybody's all happy. It's like that wee happy cheesy kind of laughing in.
Mhm.
Like you see at the end of Murder She Wrote. Cut the Bond to Melina aboard her boat, her yacht, and she wants a moonlight swim. Now, I made a note here, John. That's not waves in those shark infested waters.
No, that is not wise.
We cut to Q branch. The Minister of Defence and the Chief of Staff, Q, are connected a call from 10 Downing Street, the Bond's watch. But he takes it off and leaves it with Max. Melina says, "For your eyes only, darling."
Ah!
And they drop their clothes. Then the British Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, has a conversation with a parrot.
Yep, I love that. Like I said, the fucking parrot, man.
A meeting of minds, John. A meeting of minds.
Mhm.
And the parrot's saying, "Give us a kiss. Give us a kiss." And she's, "Well, really, Mr. Bond." And then you hear, I think it's the minister saying, "I think we're having trouble with the lane, Mom." And the minister says, "You idiot. Get on to him." And Q's saying, 007, 007. And the minister takes over and he's like, "Bond, have you lost your no, have you gone mad? What's going on? Bond, Bond." And then the song cuts to the ocean, and For Your Eyes Only starts to play.
Yep. And then it's kind of like the opening credits with the water and everything.
For your eyes only.
Great song.
It is a great song. It's an underrated song. I really like it.
Mhm.
And For Your Eyes Only grossed $195.3 million at the box office. So massive hit in the summer
huge
of
hit.
1981, John.
Is that the same summer that Raiders of the Lost Ark came out?
It was, yes, 1981. Yeah. It
So,
was.
Yeah,
And
what a year.
my final thoughts. Yes. So my final thoughts are in 1981's For Your Eyes Only, Bond went back to basics, drawing from creator Ian Fleming's literary works in the book of the same name. With its more grounded tone, new director John Glenn brings a harder, grittier edge to the film. Composer Bill Conti replaces John Barry, contributing a funky disco score that still feels Bond. In my opinion, For Your Eyes Only is an underappreciated entry into to the Roger Moore era.
Yes, and to follow up on basically everything you just said, it for me is one that I hadn't seen fully before that I have learned that should probably be in my top 10 Bond films of all time. It's very underappreciated, very underrated. It tries to bring the realism back to James Bond that kind of was lost with Moonraker, but feels like a throwback to the Connery era and also foreshadows the future of when Timothy Dalton would become James Bond and taking a more realistic approach, even though Roger Moore is still banging out his one-liners and has just the right amount of 80s cheese on it with a great score.
Yeah, he never overdoes it, and that's the
No.
thing. It's just a right balance. There's a few cheesy bits in there, a few cheesy scenes.
I mean,
you know.
listen, yeah,
but-
there's some cheesy elements like a plastic thing exploding and some dune buggies, and it's ridiculous in that sense, and the one-liners, but it works. I think it's a good balance, like you said.
Yeah, and I think it really does, as you say, first Bond movie of the 1980s. It really sets the tone for that era of Bond movies. I'll have to go back and watch Octopussy again because I always found that I didn't particularly like Octopussy. And A View to a Kill is a guilty pleasure of mine, even though I see all the flaws. But I feel like this movie's more in line with, say, A View to a Kill, or as you say, the Dalton movies. more so than Octopussy. I think Octopussy maybe takes a step back. I don't know. I'll maybe have to refresh my memory. But yeah, I agree. It really does kind of harbor back to the more kind of serious Bond movies.
Yeah, and I think it actually works very, very, very well, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we covered James Bond 007 for your eyes only here today. What do you want to tell the good folks we'll be doing on next up on the Let's Talk Movies podcast?
Yeah, on the next Let's Talk Movies podcast, we will be returning to Elm Street in
Ooh.
A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. And one thing about revenge, John, once you sat out on it, first you dig 2 graves.
I don't think Freddie minds digging. He digs a lot more than 2 graves in that movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're all my children now.
Help yourself, fucker. Yeah, but just the note as well is that obviously we see this as a separate show compared to Axis, but this month we will be doing a show on Axis about the John Keith franchise. No, about the James Bond franchise. So we feel like these can kind of tie in together. So we've touched on a lot of stuff at the start of the show. So I'm sure some of the guests I said earlier might overlap, but it's just to make people aware that if you enjoyed this, to check that show out when it drops, because we'll be discussing more Bond.
Yeah, more Bond going forward. It's the season of Bond here on the Let's Talk Movies podcast. And as always, we would like you guys to like this video, share this video if you could, subscribe to this channel, and follow us on Facebook so that you can keep an eye on everything that we're going to be doing here on Let's Talk Movies podcast with John and David's YouTube channel. So everything that's going on, our live shows, we got all that stuff in the works as well. So we just want you guys to be aware of everything. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll be seeing you around.